Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are worldwide. And welcome to another scaling show. And here we are, myself and JCB.
Hi, mate.
Yeah, doing good. How we had
Cheers to the punters and everyone tuning in.
Yeah, good one. How's your week been? You had a good week?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. Been good. Yeah, just the usual, man. Just busy, working, family.
Yeah.
Just life, mate. It's just been quite busy. Yeah, that's about it. How about yourself, bud?
It's been really hot over here. We've had another heat
Yeah,
wave. It's been, drinking
heat
lots of
wave
water
for the
and
UK. What's that like? 25 degrees or something?
we've been on our 30s, so
I was watching the news yesterday, and there was like big fires all over the place, and Portugal, most of like half of Portugal's on fire, and all this
yeah,
sort of madness, which is not cool, man. Not very
no,
good at
not at all,
all.
not at all. You're right. Yeah,
Um,
it's been pretty bad around certain places.
well,
Yeah, definitely.
any anything happening on the watch front for you, mate? Any pickups or
Yeah,
looking at?
I bought a new watch. I'll just go and get that one. Just bear with
Yeah,
me.
cool. Let's have a look. We got some people in the chat flipping. Y2K coming on. Good to see you guys. And cheers to you all for joining us. Good to see you all. When Thomas gets back, we'll do a wristwatch check. Check out this new piece that he got. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a glutton for military watches, and I ended up buying this 30mm. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Omega.
30. Oh wow, that's cool. What's
It's a World War.
Tell us about it. Tell us
It's
about it.
World War II.
Mm.
It's 1948. World War II. Omega CK2165A, and
Cool.
it was issued to the military civil service, and the British civil service in India.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the
civil service. What's the British civil service as opposed to like the military
I
service?
presume it's nothing to do with the military. It'd be the civil service. It'd be
Just like the public servants that are working over there, doing the bloody mail runs and all that sort of jazz.
Organising the administration for the government, I presume. You know,
organising polo matches and shit like that. Yeah. Just
terrible stuff like that. But it's a 30mm. I've tried it, and it's tiny on the wrist. I'll
yeah. Was that an eBay hunt?
It was an eBay punt. Yeah, it was.
Nice.
I got it for 295 quid. So
not bad.
A little eBay.
Show us how the 30mm goes.
And you can see it on the wrist. It's like it looks like a little doll's watch.
That's it would sort of something you'd wear with a tux. You know, you could pull that off with a dress. You know, like a tuxedo or something like that.
I mean,
that's not too bad. It's not too bad. It doesn't look too small. It doesn't actually look too small. You could get away with that. Like you could walk down the street and no one would look at you and go, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering how did people wear watches like this in the 30s, in the 40s? You know, and it's something that got me thinking. You know, like watches watch sizes, you know, it's a really interesting thing. Watch sizes, and
100%, yeah.
changed, you know, and
but so back then, right? That would have been the normal size. Like that was
absolutely the norm.
that was the size, right? And so you look down. Is it legible? Can you read the time and
read the time? Yeah. Time perfectly. And so that would have been the norm. And and I mean, I asked NS something, and he was saying that, you know, in the 80s and 90s, people thought the 36mm dators were quite big. You know, and so it's quite interesting how we've progressed this sort of like huge size.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Interesting how we've progressed to this huge size of
Please
sort
continue.
of like doing 40mm Panerais and even bigger, you know, doing 47mm, and people are now used to this huge size watch.
What's interesting, I think, is that watch sizes progressed towards 42, then 43, 44, and they sort of peaked out, as you're saying, Thomas, sort of at that 46, 47, sort of, you know, with the Panerais and stuff. We're talking early 2000s to the 2010s, that sort of decade, I reckon. And then from around 2010, and even just lately in the last, say 5-6 years, I would say, we've seen sizes coming back down, right? We're seeing sizes come back to the 38 to 42 seems to be the sweet spot now. But you still got brands like Breitling, Panerai that are still making really big watches, and presumably they're selling. Like presumably people are still buying them for them to make them, right? So it's still interesting that there's still people buying those big watches when the rest of the market seems to have retracted and come back down to the that 38 to 42 sort of zone.
Yeah, fashions are going back down, aren't they, to smaller watches now? And, as you say, people are wanting to go to that sort of 37 to, well, not 37, maybe 38 to 42.
Yeah, it seems to be the zone now, I reckon. I've seen it, and a lot of watches coming out in 39, like 40. Yeah. Seems to be it's interesting. The size is an interesting thing, I reckon.
Yeah.
What do you got on the wrist, Y2K? What's going on, man?
Hey, well, I'm actually switching my watch to my other wrist because I had a bit of an accident with the boiler on my left.
Oh, man.
So I don't want to. Like when you boil water and I use a coffee filter. So I have this aluminum filter, and I was putting coffee powder in it. So I was holding the cup because I was a bit in a rush, So I was pouring like really just boiled hot water. So I poured on it, and it overflowed the filter and some of it. So I had coffee powder landing on the back of it, and I've got hot water on top of it, which was a double whammy because it was as if someone took a knife and just stabbed right through my finger. So it felt really crappy. So I didn't want to gross our viewers out, so I'm putting it on my
right.
So because it looks like right now this looks like it's not on this side, it's actually on the other side so it looks like there's like two little bubbles, so it's like blisters. So today I'm actually wearing the Seiko Prospex diver 200 meters with a custom NATO strap. So it's matching together with the color configuration is matching together with the watch face itself. Yeah, so
that's a custom NATO. So you got that one custom made. You couldn't find one like that anyway. You had to get it custom made. That's crazy.
Correct. So because I wanted the right color, I really wanted this color, and so I was like,
cool, yeah.
hard to find because this color configuration is a bit on the brighter side. You know, it's on the brighter side of things.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really wanted one that actually matched the whole watch. The original one, when you buy this Seiko Prospects, they give you the black rubber straps. So I was like, no, I want something a bit more sporty. So I just went with this one. And yeah, the clicking of this is really amazing. Let me just do it for you guys to hear. That's the bezel thing. So the clicker. Yeah, that's a click on it. And the pushers are really good, actually. The pushers are really comfortable and very nice so far. Yeah. And it's solar powered, so, you know, you never have to really worry about running out of power. Yeah.
Speaking of prospects, there was this Seiko released during the week, which caught my eye. It's a diver's Noosa limited edition. Did you guys hear that one? It's
Noosa? N-U-S-A-R?
N-O-O-S-A. Noosa is a famous beach in Australia. It's in Queensland in Australia, and they brought out this limited edition Noosa watch. And before I might bring it up, Thomas, if you want to share it in a sec.
Let's do it.
Just have a look.
I just love flipping to those comment about the watch I showed. It says super easy to wear, impossible to read.
Yeah. What?
Funny.
Here we go, JCB. Here we go.
Check this out. So this is sort of like to me, I'm not a big Seiko, I'm not a Seikonisti. I don't know all my Seiko references. Yeah, but to me, this looks like the sumo, right? This is a sumo style?
Yes.
Seiko.
I think you're right. It's almost like the sumo or the turtle.
I think it's more the sumo Y2K. I could be wrong. Anyway, it's got sort of it's this blue and black configuration. It's got this funky. This dial is, I don't know what you call it or what it's. I'm just trying to see if it says what it is. That's pretty cool.
While you're doing that, JCB, the second hand is the very tip of the second hand. Looks very interesting. So
the tip.
it looks just close to the tip, right there.
This one, yeah,
very interesting. So if when you have a chance, zoom in on that. Let's have a peek on that. Yeah. Oh, okay.
This, yeah.
Right.
You can see the dial has this texture. It's got this funky. So I'm not sure if you would call it like an ocean texture, but it's sort of a shimmery blue. And I imagine that they are trying to capture some of the essence of the Noosa beach, right, in Australia, because it's the Noosa limited edition. So. I just thought it was a cool watch. I'm not a big, massive Seiko fan, but this one I just caught it on Instagram or something, and it wasn't too. It looks like it's not too thick. It's just a nice, interesting diver. It's a nice color combo with the blue and black. You guys know I love that color combo. So there you go. That's the Seiko Noosa.
The watch face which you are saying, JCB, you know what it looks like? It looks like the ocean seabed. The seabed.
Right, the seabed.
The seabed. Yeah, it looks like the seabed, the sand on the seabed. I think, especially with... Yeah, sorry, go ahead, JCB.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, this is on Time and Tide dial. It's a textured gradient blue, whatever that means. 1,000 pieces, limited edition. Seiko boutiques only. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, Sumo. Here we go. There. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Based on the Sumo case. Blah blah blah. So I think large. I think this might be about a 44 mil or something like that.
Right.
One thing that's interesting, JCB, when you show this picture, I thought, JCB, I thought the whole face is like the blue, So it was like the bottom, the lower half of the blue, I thought was just universally throughout all blue. But based on the blurb that you've been sending, and I looked it up, they say they're trying, the vertical gradient. You're right, the vertical gradient. They're trying to generate the same kind of look that the Deep Sea James camera, the Rolex Deep Sea James camera.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it looks like a Batman too. Batman with
that's it. It's got the Batman look. I reckon this is gonna be a bit of a hot piece. This one, I reckon, because of the Seiko. The Seiko fans, they find something, man. They just fucking jump on it. It's like
say that word again. The Seikonisti.
The Seikonisti. Yeah, I just made that up.
Not just that. The Seiko for JCB, the Seikonisti modder, the crazy modder. The modders have gone bonkers. Okay, what they've done is take the Marine Master face. Over here in Singapore, they take the Marine Master watch face, bada bing, bada boom, and Frankenstein. Well, I don't use the word Frankenstein, but they mod it and make it look like this, exactly like what you're looking at. So I think great move by Seiko to do this, to stop people from like going to the modeling, because even I admit, I admit, I've actually came and said, maybe how about I go for this kind of like configuration, but I there's a fear because people who mod watches, they don't carry the warranty and the guarantee, especially when it comes to water resistance.
Yes.
So I think this is a great move by Seiko.
Right. Okay. Got you. That gives some context to that. That's interesting. Okay, interesting to know. So that was that one. Do you guys want to say something else that I caught? Because we're talking about anniversary pieces, right? During the week, man, have a look at this thing. Like, I haven't been looking at watches much, and I jumped on this website. I jumped on SJX just sort of earlier in the week, and then
I saw this one. I can't remember who it's by.
So this is a Moser. Like I'm not a huge Moser fan at all. Like I don't follow them, or I'm not a big fan. But when I just saw this watch, and I just thought, far out, what a stunning like an artistic piece. It's a skeletonized. So this is based on their Cylindrical Tourbillon watch, and what it is, it's called a Cortina watch, and Y2K might be able to tell us a bit more about Cortina, because it's based in Singapore.
They're an AD in Singapore, aren't they?
Like, very good. So Cortina apparently is in Singapore. Cortina and Hourglass are two of the largest suppliers of high-end pieces. So, for example, if we were to say Cortina, because they are actually like the brand, for example, Patek Philippe, it's either sold by Patek as a AD themselves, but now with Cortina and Hourglass, who are the who holds the largest monopoly in Singapore in terms of all the high-end pieces.
Okay.
Only Hourglass can sell Rolex, but other countries, Watches of Switzerland, they can sell Rolex. But the Watches of Switzerland here in Singapore, only the Hourglass can carry and sell Rolex itself. So Cortina, yes. Okay. So Cortina on its own, correct. So Cortina for its own, they are actually. It's like I can't really remember the history, but my father once told me before that Cortina watches, and they're very rich, and they actually have a lot of control in terms of like supply and demand when it comes to pieces, because most of their clientele are the high net worth clients from Cortina.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But this is just a very brief kind of history for you guys.
Yeah. No, thank you. This is the only thing that I hate about this watch is when they cover. Why the fuck do you cover up the back of the thing with all this writing? And this is my pet peeve when it comes to watches. I mean, look at the beauty of that movement, and then you just put this writing over the back. I mean, oh man. Anyway, besides that, I mean, look at this thing. It's stunning. It is a machine. Absolute banger. coming out of the Moser stable.
It's one of their cylindrical tourbillons in a rose gold.
Yeah. I don't know much about this watch, but I was just reading the Cylindrical Tourbillon was released in March of this year, I think, and so they've taken that same watch and then they've cased it up in this rose gold with a blue fume and put it on a brown strap for the Cortina anniversary piece. Limits, I think it's 10 pieces, 165,000 Singapore dollars, and there you go. Wow. This is what a cylindrical tourbillon is. So you have what the hell? You have this cylindrical mainspring, which is in the tourbillon. Where the hell? Where is that guy? Anyway, yeah, there it is. Interesting piece. Very interesting.
Amazing.
This piece is interesting for people, especially when it comes to collectors. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sort of cutting in and out a little bit, but we got you now.
Okay. So I think, especially for anniversary pieces, the text behind is in a way to justify, especially to collectors and future sellers, like, they are able to prove that this is an anniversary piece, which in other hands will mark up the price, especially for Moser. Now, I think if yourselves and the viewers all know about Moser and C, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. So for them, they actually have very high-end pieces also. I remember like Moser and C, they had one very artsy-fartsy piece. Very, very artsy-fartsy. I can't remember. It's in the pictures in my head, but I cannot remember.
Yeah, it's the one with the eraser on the second hand. That the one with they've got these art pieces where they have these. Yeah, it's a picture of it was an eraser or something.
Correct. So for Moser and Sia, them coming up with something like this, it's really it's a stretch from where they are, and I think we're seeing a trend where actually watch manufacturers are now going back in time, especially for high-end pieces or high-end brands. They're going back in time, going with the skeletonized, the transparent design to show the movement and everything. And because buyers generally feel that when they can see the movement and everything, it justifies the price tag for such an expensive piece. So for the a lot of anniversary watches, okay, just for everyone's notification, they tend to be some kind of signature behind the piece or on the watch. It's to signify that this is somewhat of a special limited edition. So the keywords: limited edition and anniversary. Yeah.
Here they've got it. It's a limited edition. Okay, limited edition 1 of 10. They could have continued the engraving around this side of the thing. Why the hell do you put it there? Put an engraving there. That's what they should have done.
Maybe Cortina asked for it to be branded. I don't know.
Yeah, but they could have had Cortina inscribed on the side. It just would have been such a better way of doing it, I think. This just I mean, look, it just stuffs it up, I reckon. It's like when Grand Seiko do that thing and they cover up the back. It's like
put the line on the back. Yeah.
Come on. Man, that's my little whinge about it. But besides that, yeah, very cool. All right, that was me. That's all I had. That's all I got.
No worries, man. No worries. I think for anniversary, I was looking through all the anniversary pieces and the brands. Aside from Seiko, so I think some honorable mentions. For people, one brand is like Tissot always has a lot of limited edition. So when we talk about anniversary pieces, right? Sometimes people think about the word limited edition. Yes, it's very true that limited edition pieces always go hand in hand with the keyword of anniversary. And I think it's also a marketing thing. It's also for profits also. When you can make people spend more for a very limited piece, and then you put the keyword, this is our celebration of anniversary or whatever. Yeah. And then it's only going to be from now till now and how many pieces. So definitely for the die-hard fans and collectors, the price will go up for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that too. With a lot of anniversary pieces, the price goes up and up and up, and depending on the brand, depending on who makes it.
Let me just show you guys. So Tissot, for example, is one of them. Yeah. So like when I was looking at all the Tissots, just for interest, just in 2022 itself, all right, Tissot has already issued plentiful of I dare not call it limited. I dare not call it anniversary pieces, but so many limited editions, so many special editions. So if you look from the left, you've got Cycling Tour de France, and then you've got Navigator Romania limited edition. You got MotoGP limited edition, and then you have the T-Race Cycling Vinilta special edition, and some of these are quartz watches instead of automatics. And then the list goes on. It's more 2022. And it's so many, And,
but is 2022 some anniversary for them of something though?
That's a very good question because I have yet to discover that. But I think it could be when there were some people who were saying that because as countries are opening up, people are doing more sports activities like Tour de France, F1, and all these things, or maybe Daytona racing in the United States and all this. So there are a lot of activities where people are coming together. So I think certain watch companies are taking this opportunity to start doing the marketing and also the selling of the high-end pieces, to commemorate these sports events as well. One that I would just like to share, one that I saw when I was in Switzerland was the Jungfrau Bahn Swiss edition, which is this solar one. So this watch was really, really being pushed to the edges, the fringes of like really advertising it, But for those who actually own this T-Touch solar, you know that this is actually there's a how should I say? There's another version, but this is just for the Jungfrau Bahn Swiss edition version. Yeah, so these are
what
just
the hell? What the hell is Jungfrau Brown?
So Jungfrau Bahn, I know the word Jungfrau, which is the mountain in Switzerland, which is like the top of Europe.
Okay.
So I'm assuming Bahn is the highway.
Well, it's got an altimeter, so that makes sense that it's a mountaineering piece.
Correct. So this piece, just to share everyone, really got plenty of airtime in Switzerland. Like if you go to a Tissot shop, you'll definitely not miss it. Like everybody, all the Tissots are trying to push this out, and and this is not really like a limited edition, but I think you can only get this in Switzerland unless you have like private sellers selling it out.
Well, is Tissot big in Switzerland? Y2K?
Yeah. The funny thing, a few friends of mine, they've traveled to Switzerland. So the very first thing they made a beeline for, let us go to Rolex. So they marched into Rolex and they walked out of Rolex and they said, it's no different from the rest of the world, that everybody is still needing to go on the waiting list for their favorite pieces, or even just to walk in for inquiries is still on the waiting list. Stuff is on exhibition.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, like for newlyweds, couples, or like you're going on a trip with your brothers or your friends, you want to get a memory or something, and you're in Switzerland, which is supposed to be the mecca of watches and of watchmaking and everything. So people would be like, I want to take something home. So what should I take home? And they're like, okay, you know what? We can't get this brand. It's either we go aim for another Swiss brand like Omega, or go for other what's Nocanes? Is it Nocanes?
Nocanes, yeah.
Yeah, Nocanes.
I think that's right.
That's another very popular Swiss brand. Or they really just do Tissot. Now, for those who are kind of like young executives just starting up, then they'll just go for the Tissot instead. Yeah.
What about in Singapore and in the UK, where you guys are? Is Tissot a popular brand there?
Yeah, it's in all the ADs in England and the UK. I mean, it's in all the ADs, like along with all the other brands. It's not a special brand. It's not featured especially.
It's sort of like your entry level Swiss brand, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because it's not very popular in Australia. I think people prefer to probably go to Longines. I would say Longines and Oris probably more popular
I think Tissot's a bit more
Tissot.
budget.
It's cheaper, isn't it, than those two? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seiko is really big here, maybe for budget, but yeah, okay.
The truth is, like what you say, JCB and Thomas, is that I think that Tissot, in terms of its reliability, some people call it the entry level, okay, of your watch buying experience. You go for Tissot as an entry level, but there have been a lot of good reviews, especially even from Alex, who works in Perpetual Time. He services pieces, and Tissot actually, to him, has established itself to a very good reputation and reliability. So even in the past 2 years, we saw Tissot pushing the PRX. So there's a quartz version of the PRX, and there's also the Parmatic PRX or something, which is 80 hours. So for a while, the hype was really hyper, and they went with the very retro, the whole advertisement itself for the PRX was the whole very retro look of it. So the one really good thing about Tissot is that, especially for people who are starting watch collecting, it's a great opportunity to start on the path of doing Tissot without burning a hole in your bank. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Can we give a shout out to some punters? Are you about to do that, Thomas?
Yeah, I was just going to give a shout out to a few of the punters. Flipping Zippo one mentioned. Nick C, good to see you. LA Methwich, always good to see you, mate. And Junie Johnson, how you doing, my friend?
Welcome, gents. Nick C, LA Methwich, and Junie Johnson.
Fellas.
And
cheers.
Flipping Zippo as well.
Yeah, Flipping Zippo's a good old buddy of ours.
Flipping.
Yeah. I used to buy Zippos when I was in secondary school.
Oh yeah, I've got one somewhere floating around behind me.
Just off topic. Zippo was like when we were secondary school kids. We watched American films. We always, there's so much cigarettes in films back in the 90s. Just off topic, guys. I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
Cigarettes was like everybody was like Sharon Stone smoking cigarettes. You had Al Pacino smoking cigarettes. Then you had all these. There you go. Clint Eastwood was smoking cigarettes. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger was cigar, and everybody was like just smoking cigarettes. And Zippo was like the cool thing, like clink, 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 clink. That was really back in the 90s and the 80s. Yeah.
I was watching a show the other day. I'll try to figure out what it was, but the main person in the show was smoking, like chain smoking. Every scene they was heavy was smoking throughout the whole movie, and I was like, it was just weird because you just don't see that these days anymore. Like it was a weird that whoever did the story made a conscious decision to make this person, the character, a chain smoker, for the film. It was bizarre. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what it was. It was something modern too. Something recent.
It's really obnoxious. You're right, JCB. Last time they were like one cigarette after another cigarette. When they haven't finished the full cigarette, they were like, "Oh, I'm done the cigarette already." They just threw and just started another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anniversary watches. Yeah, there's plenty of them out there, and I couldn't manage to get them all in as you can imagine. But we'll start off with the obvious one and the brand that everyone knows or loves to hate. Rolex. And
Rolex.
This one's the Kermit, the Rolex Kermit 16610LV, and this was when they first brought out the maxi dial. They first brought out the maxi dial on this one, And it was originally, I mean, the Submariner originally released in 1953. This came out in 2003. There's a 50th anniversary model, and was discontinued in 2010 to be replaced by the Hulk. But the first Submariner to have the maxi dial, which we all now know and love.
Yeah.
And they did have a flat 4 version, which was the 4 on the 40 was a little bit wider.
It's like fatter, yeah, like this.
Top of it, yeah.
Yeah.
This caliber 3135 is 300 meter water resistance and 40 millimeters. It's in 2008, the serial number was moved onto the Rehaut ring on the inside.
Yeah, when was that? 2008, yeah?
2008, yeah. And as you can see now, they're fetching, this one's an chromatic dealer fetching £21,000.
Fuck. That's a 2007. So what's more valuable? Is it the pre-Rehaut or the Rehaut one?
I couldn't actually tell you that.
Yeah, okay. Because I know that the collectors like to go for the Fat 4 one a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a really good one, that one. Yeah, it's they only made for a couple of years, that one, I think.
So it might be that might be the really early run with the Fat 4, maybe.
I think that came a couple of years in. About
okay.
2005, maybe 2000.
Do you want to tell us the story about your one and how it was? Do you want to tell us the story about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, my one, it was in the window of the ADs for weeks. It sat there in the window for weeks, and
that's just mind blowing. Like to think of that now. That you had a freaking Kermit sitting in the window for weeks, and you used to walk past it, didn't you, and look at it in the window and think about it.
Think about it and think that's really nice. I'd always liked the Kermit. I'd seen it before in different shops. I saw this in this one AD. This is in 2010, and
fucking crazy.
It was just sat there for weeks. Nobody wanted them. They thought this green bezel, this looks odd. They didn't. Nobody had the concept. Nobody grabbed the concept of it being an anniversary edition. And I read up on it a little bit. It was this anniversary edition, but I just loved the green bezel anyway. And I went and bought it, and it was £4,000. And so they're now selling for...
Did you get a discount?
I didn't, no.
Did you ask for one?
I didn't, no.
If you could have asked for one, you probably would have got a discount.
Well, I actually bought it on 2 years interest-free credit.
Oh, man. Crazy.
How much was that again when you bought it, Thomas? Sorry.
£4,000.
And okay, so the same model, £4,000, and now what we're seeing is the actual price of. Is it the same piece?
Yeah. Well, mine's 2000. Mine was the last of the last. I think it was 2010 or 2009.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh man, you got the Rehaut one.
Rehaut one, yeah.
Oh man, that's nice, man. Damn. I've always thought that the 16610 with the Rehaut, I reckon that's gonna be a real, like in the future, like that will be the pre-ceramic sub that people will want. I think that's just my gut feeling. It's such a cool watch. I love that Rehaut. I love it, and it's great.
Buy it, and I just went in and said, "Could you do interest-free credit?" And they said, "Yeah, 2 years finance, fine." So
0% interest.
I paid 0% interest. Yeah.
Very good. Very nice.
That's brilliant. There's no way you can get that on Rolex now.
No. When did you make this purchase, Thomas? Which year did you?
2000.
Wow. So that was almost 12 years ago already? 12,
Yeah.
12? And now, well, the prices. That's the thing about when someone talks about Rolex Kermit, for example, this piece is showing, and they say, "Oh, this is an anniversary piece." Sometimes even when we look at the narrative, the sentence structure there is nothing that talks about anniversary, and it's very hard to tell whether the only real thing that all these the Rolex are very hard to get Rolex pieces all became very exclusive and very difficult to get is because they, in a way, we think about like discontinued, the word discontinued, or obsolete, then they would say like no longer manufactured. Discontinued, especially the word discontinued, is a word that really turns certain high-end brands, okay, they make the pieces like obsolete, yeah.
But I don't think Rolex doesn't do any. They don't mark their watches in any way that it's an anniversary piece, or you know what I mean. They don't like compared to like that Moser we saw where it was all plastered over the back. Like Rolex they won't do any of that sort of stuff. They'll just bring out the watch and it'll have a little twist, and that's it, right?
Exactly. I mean, Rolex have had quite a few anniversaries recently. They've had the anniversary of the Explorer 2 the other year. They've got the Daytona coming up next year. They've had the anniversary of the Day quite a few years ago. But yeah, I mean, I don't know when the anniversary of the Date just was. There must have been quite a while ago. But yeah, I mean, 50 years as well is
before we move on from Rolex, I'll be back. You guys keep talking. Give me 1 minute.
Okay.
I mean, 50 years is you'll find that a lot of the watches we're looking at today are 50-year anniversary because it's the 50s and the 1940s and 50s were the times that when watchmaking really sort of got going, got kicked up the bum. And
yes,
when manufacturers really got their act together and technology started going, after the war and pre-war, or during the war and after the war, watchmaking really took off.
I agree with you. Even what you're saying is, in a way, before the pre-quartz crisis, watches it is in my personal opinion, I believe that watches during the pre-quartz crisis, they were at the epitome of that period, the pinnacle, of watchmaking.
50s
then
watchmaking, when watchmaking really they got things sorted out, and then the 60s and 70s was when design came in a bit more. They started to do a bit more design, and then we had quartz crisis, and things fell apart a bit. But
the very interesting thing, Thomas, is that even to today, even with the quartz crisis and everything, luxury watches in its own standing, especially those that are not quartz, there is always the perspective, especially for buyers and collectors, that there is this stigma. Okay, when you think about buying a piece that's actually a quartz and automatic or manual wind, there is always a stigma or double standards that certain collectors will feel, it's a quartz, it's not to that level of greatness, in terms of watchmaking. But to each his or her own. Watchmaking is really very relative. What one person might seem like, it's just a quartz, And so even when we talk about anniversary pieces, till today, if a certain Swiss brand comes up with a quartz piece that's an anniversary, people will still go gun for it, I mean, if 20 years down the road from today, we look at how the Moon Swatch, when the first Moon Swatch was launched, for example, people went bonkers for it. And the real thing is that because, like Jamie and I, we went to an Omega AD here. And so we're talking to this AD directly face to face. And the questions we asked was, did the Moon Swatch, in a way, dilute the whole Speedmaster in general? No, it in a way, it didn't really dilute. Now, of course, I did share with the AD and said that, my perspective is people who currently own a Speedmaster will not feel the sense of that, they have not gotten enough. But the thing is that they would, of course, diehard Speedmaster fans would feel like they'll look at those who own the Moonswatch and say, oh, all you have is actually a quartz version of the Moonwatch itself. But that is the reality of how...
Did the guy say how it increased the sales of the Speedmaster?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it definitely did. So what happened is that...
That's
good question,
crazy,
JCB.
right?
Because people who bought... Some people who had money buy the Omega Moons, the Swatch Moonwatch, blah, 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 okay? And then they're like, it's so nice, and I want to get the Moonwatch now. So some people are like, they're still waiting, and apparently parents, interesting thing, for parents who are viewers, were like, I want to get, or fathers like, I want to get my son or my daughter on board with collecting watches. So they used to buy the Flick Flag from Swatch, the kiddie watches. And then they would now say, oh, I shall buy the Moonswatch, my child, make them influence with Omega and the watch and everything. And before you know it, some of the kids who are not even like very, very, very old yet, maybe in their early teens, parents who just, you know what, I think you're good enough. You've aced the university, you've passed it. Time for you to get your Moonwatch now. Let's go to the 80s. So the Moonwatch sales actually did shoot up, especially for the newer ones.
I mean
yeah.
The
Crazy.
The Moonswatch, they said they were going to sell online and then didn't, because they
didn't happen.
Yeah, well, they wanted to. It makes sense. They want to draw people into the stores, because when someone goes in and says, "Can I buy a Moonswatch?" they say, "No, sorry, but we've got our other goods," and they end up selling a Swatch.
Well, why say that you're going to do it though in the first place? It's a bit of an interesting backtrack.
Yeah, it's interesting, but then on the other hand, online sales of real Speedmasters went up something like 40%.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you just buy them online? Can you?
No, not yet. I think they will do eventually.
No. Like a Speedy. Like, could you just buy a Speedy online?
Oh yeah.
Online, yeah.
Direct. You can buy direct from Amiga or like from a AD.
Okay, from Omega you do it from the website. You inquire with the boutique. Yeah.
Because you can't do that here in Australia. You have to go to the boutique. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but not to sidetrack too much. So in terms of the Moonswatch and all these things, 20 years down the road, 10, 15 years down the road, the Moonswatch will be seen as a quartz watch that in a way has also generated some kind of anniversary, the anniversary of the launch of the Moonswatch collection. So at some juncture in watch history, 10 years down the road, which will be plus 10 years older, people will be talking about, anniversary watches, and the Moonswatch will be part of that illustrious line of watches that fall into that category as well. Just for specials tonight, I was doing my mini research for anniversary watches, and afterwards, close to the end of the show, I will show something very interesting for you guys to see. And I would like not just Thomas and JCB, but whoever's watching us, to also take a look at what I'll be showing you, and I would like your opinion on what do you see that's similar. All right, I'm not going to divulge too much, but it's actually my screens here. But cool. I'll share it before we close the stream.
Yeah. I might not make it right till the end, but if I am, then that sounds like fun. Hey, before we move on from Rolex, sorry, Thomas.
Joe, right in the chat. Just want to say hi to those punters in the chat.
Welcome, J-Ride. Big Buds.
Welcome. Yeah. So, before we move on from Rolex, JCB.
Well, what's this guy here?
Jubilee Bracelet. Oyster.
Yeah. Well, that's it. This is a Jubilee bracelet, right? And it's the Jubilee, right? The Jubilee bracelet, which was released to commemorate. I'm just having a punt here and saying I think it was Rolex's 40th anniversary. And so on an anniversary, they released a bracelet. You know what I mean? And that went on to, I'm pretty sure it went on to the Datejust, which was released at the time, perhaps. I'm just sort of guessing. And I think that's probably, I was thinking about during yesterday, and I was like, well, for an anniversary release, it's a bracelet. It's probably the most significant or the most sort of widespread type of introduction, because it's on so many watches. You know, how many watches have this bracelet, and that was an anniversary release. So yeah, so a very significant. We're talking about anniversaries. I think that would be up there with possibly one of the most significant anniversary releases, if not the most, that's been done.
Yeah, so we'll move on from Rolex quickly. Hi, Finches of Prey, good to see you.
Welcome, Finches of Prey.
And another 50th anniversary.
Oh.
This is originally released in 1969. Had its 50th anniversary in 2019. The Zenith A384 Revival in 37mm tonneau case. And the revived gay fair ladder bracelet as well, but this was the 50th anniversary model, which didn't have the gay fair ladder bracelet. Colonial chronograph, the El Primero, and it's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. I want one.
This on the strap, it works really well too. It's a banger. This watch is an absolute banging piece.
They're gorgeous.
And I think I've said it on this show. I've said it on many shows before. This one, it is just it doesn't really make sense until you get it on your wrist. Once you've got the watch strapped on to your wrist and you're looking at it and you're feeling it, it all makes sense. It all comes home. It all comes together. The shape of the case, the way it feels, the weight, everything. It's just a fantastic watch.
Just stunning, isn't it, JCB? I mean, look at it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think when this first came out, you know, I didn't really know much about Zenith and, you know, the previous pieces and the stuff in the history. And I looked at this piece and I just thought, what a weird looking watch. It just looks weird, and I didn't get it. Like, you know, the case is sort of weird, and you just look at it and you just think it's just a funny piece. But when you get that thing on your wrist, it's like it was meant to be on your wrist. It's just it's so ergonomic, and it's just a great piece. I can't talk highly enough about this watch. It's just really beautiful watch.
I mean, I've tried it on. I fell in love straight away. I mean, I've always loved it. And the A385 as well, with the cappuccino dial. And I tried on those. And
don't you reckon, Thomas? It's like when you try it on, when you get it onto your wrist, that's when it just like it hits home. It's like they knew what they were doing when they designed it, like the case and the angles and.
It's 37 mm, so it's a little small. It's a little small on the wrist, but it looks gorgeous. It just looks beautiful.
For me, it didn't look. Yeah, it didn't look too small on my wrist. It sort of felt. It was. I think because of the case extends. You know, the lug to lug is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say it's huge. I don't know what the measurement is, but it gives you some bulk on the wrist that longitudinal axis, you know, the lengthwise with the lug to lug, it gives you some bulk on there. But I think that the width is quite small. It's a 37 mil from memory. But when that lug to lug, when you put that thing on your wrist, it fills up your wrist. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I would just love for them to bring out more dials on this watch. They need to bring out some more dials, like, you know, like the cover girl is the blue one, which is always a limited edition. It's really hard to get. You know, if they brought out some, you know, some blue ones or some, you know, give us some variation.
That was a 3818, I think, wasn't it? The cover girl.
Yeah, I can't remember. So they had the cover girl, which was a limited edition, and then they brought out the Revolution, brought out a cover girl limited edition in titanium. Right. I'm gonna say that was earlier in the year, but fucking banging piece, like amazing, you know, full titanium bracelet, the works, like awesome piece. I just think, I think this reverse panda config might put some people off if they brought out some different config in the dial.
Panda, I think it looks business.
Thomas, could you give me could you just change the picture to the second one, please? I want to see the one on the side profile of the El Primero.
Well, do you want to see the reverse or the
side
from
profile.
The side?
So maybe
That's one down.
The third picture from the bottom. Third from the bottom. Yeah.
Tell me when to stop.
Keep going. 1.
That's the back.
2. Next one.
The next one. Okay, this
one more.
one.
There we go. That's what I want to
see. Yeah, that one.
Okay. So the design of this is very retro. It's very retro.
It's a re-edition. Like it's retro because it actually was. This is one of the first of one of 3 releases of the El Primero in '69.
This was okay. Just recap for me. This was launched in '69.
Launched in 1969. Had its anniversary in 2019.
Wow.
50th anniversary. This is the anniversary.
That's why it's retro. It actually is it's a re-edition of the original.
So this one, is it? This I'm assuming this is an automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the El Primero was one of the first automatic chronographs produced, one of 3 in '69, along with Seiko and Hoya, who all produced the automatic chrono in that year.
Junior saying didn't Hidink release a version of this for the Salmon? I don't think they did.
No, it wasn't this one. It was the A385, I think it was, which is the rounder one. I'm not sure the reference number, but it's a slightly different case, Junior. It's another banging piece, man, that Hidink one.
A386, yeah.
A386, sorry, 386, yeah.
I think I know that one.
Did we bring it up last week? Maybe we brought it up last week. Anyway,
I can't remember.
Cool piece.
I actually when I looked at the price, I was a bit like £7,100. Maybe but I would say that especially for relaunches, sometimes it can affect the pricing because some of the people who bought it back in the day, and until now, you would think the price would have changed. It should have gone up in a way since it's an anniversary piece.
So this one has its anniversary this year. The Royal Oak, with its released in 1972 and 50th anniversary in 2022. Octagonal bezel, integrated bracelet, tapestry dial. Octagonal bezel with its 8 hexagonal screws have become the collector's trademark.
Yep.
Not just the collector's trademark.
Polish and satin brushed finishes reinforce the aesthetic lines. The embellic tapestry dial is manufactured with rare expertise. And then they've got the range down there, but this is the anniversary model.
Is this what's this, a 15202 anniversary or something like that? Do you know the reference?
I don't know. This says it's still the case, not tunnel bezel dial retro bracelet. The Royal logo and the prevailing codes in 1972 and took its rightful place as a modern icon. I can't tell whether it's 15202 or.
Yeah, I tried on a friend of mine's got a 15202, and I put it on. It was nice. It was not bad at all, actually. I didn't mind it. But it wasn't. It didn't grab me by the short and curlies. It didn't just I wasn't like wow. I thought it was nice. Don't get me wrong. It was a cool watch.
I was discussing with Jamie Opulence that when we saw the AP boutique, I think when we were doing the mini watch experience tour which I was taking them around, I always told them that for any watch collector who liked the AP brand, at the very least, this is the bare minimum they should always consider. You know, the Royal Oak, this one, yeah. Definitely.
This is probably the most popular because of that. I think because of its icon status. If you look at this configuration, it's a two-hander. Notice it's a two-hander, not a three-hander.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Two-hander with date, blue dial, tapisserie dial. That's it. This is the quintessential icon of AP, and very popular because of that, I think.
Yeah, no matter what, these, just for interest's sake, the prices of these, right, have never really gone down. And even to today, collectors, and connoisseurs or even AP fans, no matter what when they look at this piece, when you look at a Royal Oak Offshore, the other hardy pieces, this piece has always been uniquely on its own. It stands independent on its own. And irregardless of what you're going to be wearing, a blazer, a polo, or t-shirt, this piece you can pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the keys to its popularity is it's so versatile.
Yeah. And the bracelet especially, I think for a while people didn't really pay attention to AP, but this bracelet, which AP came up with, is one of the few bracelets that whenever, if you look at it from a distance, it rings AP in your face.
You're right, Y2K. I tried one on, and that integrated brace is the most comfortable brace that I've tried.
It's nuts.
It's gorgeous, really, really comfy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Absolute beauty.
Yeah, I like the chronograph, the AP, the Royal Oak chronograph. I just find this setup a bit too boring. Huh?
Is that an overseas chronograph?
No. Just the AP,
right.
the Royal Oak chronograph.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think that's pretty cool. But I'm a chrono sort of guy, so I'll go for the chronograph all the time. And obviously I love what they do with their ceramic, and the open work stuff that they do is awesome as well. Yeah, but this one, okay, pretty cool.
At least with this one, sorry to interrupt you, Thomas. I'll make it quick. At least with this one, the one with the rubber bits, right?
Offshore.
This one doesn't have so the offshore one. Yeah, thank you. So the offshore one has those rubber bits, yes? Now this one doesn't have the rubber bits. Now the greatest concern, when it especially comes to owners of APs, especially those who own the ones with the rubber, the rubber on the casing or the rubber on the crown, there's always a concern that at some point it's going to start breaking and flaking.
Yeah.
Now this one does not have. Now this one, from what I've read, does not have that kind of issue.
Yeah, no, of course not. Yeah, no, this is all steel. The offshores have rubberized pieces on them, and
correct.
Yeah, you have to go and get them changed out every 5-10 years or however long, which is just ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
And I feel the most economical way is spending that large amount of money to get an AP. This is really the one that you should go for to stretch your dollar. Really stretch your dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, so move on. AP. To AP or not to AP then?
Of course the AP.
Yeah, well, it depends on the one. Like, I think there's an AP for everyone. That's the thing. They make so many watches that there's something for everyone. You can't, and one of my Grail watches is an AP. But I'm not generally. I don't really love AP that much. But I love one particular watch that they have. So there's something in there for everyone for sure.
And you're right, JCB. I also like AP, the chunky monkeys.
Yeah, you love it too.
Yeah, they've got those chunky ones and the multiple dials in them. I like that one too.
Yeah, you love the offshore chronograph. That's for you, man. That's like
I love it. It's one of the grail.
Yeah.
The question is, how deep are your pockets to go?
Yeah.
How deep are your pockets?
Yeah, I think with those ones though, look, I'm just guessing, but I think the popularity is just in the Royal Oak. It's not in the offshore as much. Like the crazy money is coming in for the Royal Oak line, and the variants of Royal Oak. Whereas offshore, you might be able to find something, mate. You never know. Get some pennies together, and you might get lucky, mate.
So the next one, this was the one that Uncle Jonga had in his.
Yeah,
Jonga's gonna have a field day with this one.
Banger, man! This is so cool.
Snoopy, the Snoopy Award was in 1970. They started the Snoopy Award, and Omega received this prestigious Silver Snoopy Award from astronauts at NASA. And it had its 50th anniversary in 2001. And the Snoopy Award recognizes Omega's unique contribution to space exploration, as well as Speedmaster's role in saving Apollo 13. 50 years later, a timepiece was created in its honor. And Snoopy was chosen as NASA's mascot in the 1960s to act as a safety watchdog during spaceflight missions. And Charles F. Schultz was a huge fan of the space project and did all of the Snoopy Eyes on the Stars drawings for free. And he was he's a big fan of the NASA space flight. So he didn't charge any money for the rights to use Snoopy. He insisted that they use him and did all his. So
the Silver Snoopy Award, and I'm just reading from Wikipedia because I didn't quite know the details of this until I just looked at it. So the Silver Snoopy Award is a special honor awarded to NASA employees and contractors for outstanding achievements related to human flight safety or mission success. The award certificate states that it is in appreciation for professionalism, dedication, and outstanding support. Blah 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 blah. So it's a thing that NASA gives to their people. And so when did Omega come into the scene? How did Omega bring a watch to tie in with this Snoopy Award? Do we know that?
Well, there've been 3 iterations of the Snoopy, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
One.
Snoopy, 1, 2, and 3. I like number 2. But let's have a look. Omega.
White dial on the white Snoopy with the just plain white, wasn't it? The number 2.
The number 2 was with but it had this crazy loom. It had a fully loomed tachometer bezel, which was, I think it was the first time, I'm just guessing as well, but the first time that Omega did a loomed tachometer on the bezel. Really cool watch. But let's have a look. Heritage model, Snoopy Award. Just looking on the Omega website. Oh no, that's the 50th anniversary.
So from my very simple memory, I think that there were in total 3 types of Omegas. Snoopy.
Yeah, there was. Yep. This is the 3rd one we're looking at on the screen. This is the 3rd one.
Right. So I think one was a black face, one was a white face, and I think for all the Snoopies they were in the same position at the 9 o'clock subdial.
Yeah.
The
first Snoopy was just imagine a Speedmaster, and I think the subdial, the second subdial at 9 had Snoopy on it. So it was very subtle. You could have, and it may be even that there was nothing on there actually. It might have been on the back, like the Snoopy stuff.
I think
Snoopy 2. Sorry, Thomas, go on.
I think the introduction of a watch for the anniversary and for the affiliation with the Snoopy Award is just probably a cash to start off with. And wanting to have a memento for the occasion, and then a cash grab, doing the different iterations later.
Yeah, and Snoopy 1 had there's a Snoopy on the sub dial. So it's just sort of like a standard Speedy with a Snoopy on the sub dial. And then they went a bit crazy with Snoopy 2. That's when it was the full white with black setup. And then they came to this one, Snoopy 3, which again goes absolutely crazy when you look at the back. You turn it over and you have Snoopy flying around. Super cool. Just trying to see, when was Snoopy 1?
I've found a website with some information for everyone. So for our lovely viewers, if you are curious about all 3 Omega Snoopy Speedmaster watches, definitely do take a look. I think I'm going to put up the link over here. So yeah, so this is the link to the article for all the 3 Omega Snoopy pieces as well. A little bit of history into it, and especially for these pieces, especially for anniversary, Omega is actually a good time now to highlight that Omega is one of the few brands, one of the brands that really, really knows how to make a party and celebrate. The number of anniversary pieces from Omega as a high-end brand is a lot. Yeah, like even the Olympics, the America Cup, or a few others. There is quite a significant number of anniversaries already done for sporting events. I think
there's so many for the moon though, like Apollo 11 and there's all these other. There's so many. Like, I'm not an Omega person, but even in my head, I can picture so many different Omega, like Speedmaster variants based on, some sort of anniversary or some recognition of some bloody space flight.
Yeah.
Snoopy's till today hold their prices very, very well. Interesting enough.
It's hard to go on a waiting list.
It's not even get on the waiting list is like impossible. It's impossible. The only watch places where you can find a Snoopy, I'm sorry to say, is the grey market already, where with what's happening, and then people get bored and they're like, I'm going to sell the Snoopy. I have seen a lot of Snoopies on the grey market, so with prices that have
they've gone crazy.
Yes, definitely.
I'm still not sold on the color combination of this watch, to be honest with you. I just don't know what it is. The blue and white color combo. I don't know what I would prefer, but it's just something about it. It just doesn't jump out at me as something that's really nice. Like, I'm just not sold on it. Really, that's all I'm saying. I don't know what I would prefer, but it's just it's not my first thing that I would have thought of. But then again, it's a Snoopy, and this one, it's all about the back, right? Just watch it. It's all about the animation, and look at the case back and Snoopy flying around. That's why you buy the watch. It's really for that.
It's pretty much an acquired taste, and for sure, like what you say, JCB, you really have to like. Not all Speedmaster fans would definitely be able to appreciate this piece, because there have been instances whereby the people come forth with a narrative that, I'm sorry, this piece is too kiddie. It's not It's not exquisite. It's not executive level. So it's kiddie. So it's definitely going to be. It makes the whole like appreciation of Speedmaster, this Omega Speedmaster Snoopy editions, hard for people to get used to it. Yeah.
I think that's what I like about it. I like the fact that it's not serious. I like the fact that it's playful and it's got this thing, the animation when you see Snoopy flying around. It's amazing. It's so cool. I love. That's what I actually like about the watch. Whereas if you look at Snoopy 2, Snoopy 2 is a lot more serious. It's like a black and the monotone. That's one that you could wear anywhere. It's a lot more of a sort of even though it's got a picture of Snoopy on the dial, it feels a lot more serious than this one. Anyway, what are your thoughts on this piece, Thomas? Do you like this watch or what?
I'm not a Speedmaster fan, to be honest with you. I'm not a Speedmaster guy. A lot of watch nerds say you got to have a Speedmaster in the collection. I don't go along with that. No, the Speedmaster doesn't do it for me. I like this animation on the back that draws me to the watch, but I'd much rather have an El Primero like we looked at earlier on as a chronograph. The A384 that really does it for me. But Speedmasters, I'm a bit meh. Don't really. I've no.
Yeah.
I can only say that I am a diehard. First of all, I'm an Omega fan, so I'm a bit biased. So I'll highlight that first.
I'm a huge Omega fan, Y2K, massive Omega fan, but I just don't like the look of the case shape of the Speedmaster and the. I don't know. It's something it doesn't really do to me.
Actually, what you say, Thomas, is something that a lot of Omega fans actually, especially for the Speedmaster series, do bring into discussion. Is because when some people say when you buy your first Speedmaster, yes, so whether it's a Hesalite or it's an Sapphire, the very first debate that people already talk about when they buy their very first Speedmaster is, should I buy the Hesalite or should I buy the Sapphire? So Sapphire, just to give the quick blurb, is that you can still see the case back allows you to see the movement. You see? Now, for the Hesalite, it's the original watch that went to the moon, which is the Hesalite. The concept and reason is because they were concerned that the Sapphire will not be able to deal with the pressure, and they're afraid that it shatters in space as well. So obviously Hesalite was a choice. Now, obviously, there is a price difference between the Hesalite and the Sapphire. And the other thing is that if you service, this is first-hand information from the AD. Now, when you send your Speedmasters for servicing, and if it's a Hesalite, the crystal that has scratches and all this, that servicing is literally covered for the Hesalite.
Like the replacement, they'll just replace it.
Correct. That is SOP, standard operating procedures on Omega's end. So they'll definitely do it for the client. So the other question is that if you own a Sapphire, what is it in for you? So the key thing you need to do is when you are going to make the purchase, you have to hold Hesalite and Sapphire side by side because they have very different looks, especially the way the crystal bends light for the Hesalite and the Sapphire. And the other thing you need to consider is that the pricing for Hesalite and the Sapphire are different. So now, if you've already bought your Grail Speedmaster, okay, you've got the basic Speedmaster, whether it's the Hesalite or you got the Sapphire. So the question is, now you're going to evolve towards buying a Snoopy. So when you want to buy a Snoopy, it has to be like you really like, the Speedmaster. And next thing is you really like the Snoopy. Now, for me, I'm a fan of the Snoopy comics as young. So, but for me to wear a Snoopy watch as well as this, sometimes it makes me feel a bit funny because I've always pictured Speedmasters to be very, how should I say it, mechanical, very technical. We don't see something like a funny character or Snoopy in there, hippity hop around in the back of the watch, or in the dials. So obviously there is something that as buyers and consumers you have to be able to accept, And obviously there'll be the people who buy it just because it is a limited edition, it's a special edition, capitalize on it so that I can sell it for cheap. Sell it for high prices and still earn a lot of money from it, So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, quite like it, but I'd definitely go for a sapphire sandwich if I was buying a Speedmaster. But I tried on the Speedmaster, and I think the new tapering bracelet is great, much nicer than the old 1861.
Can I'll share my screen. I brought this one up. I was looking at it before we started the show. I wasn't sure whether it was an anniversary one or not. But this one, not too many people know about. So when they reintroduced the 321, they brought it out in stainless steel, but they also brought out this bad boy here, which is platinum, and it has meteorite subdials as well.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, I just think this is a banging speedy. It's very expensive, obviously, with platinum. But this would be something. If I had some money to throw around, I'd be queuing up for this bad boy here. But the 321, I thought the 321 might have been brought out for an anniversary, or something, but I don't think it was. I think they just reissued the 321 caliber, just willy nilly, and when they did, they brought it out in this guy here. Super cool piece. Let's see what it says.
Whoa!
Yeah, that's Aussie. That's Aussie. Yeah, obviously the money is crazy. Stupid money.
Half a million?
No,
90,000.
90,000
Aussie.
90,000 Aussie. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So in I'm not sure what that is in pound, Thomas. But there you go. That's the 321.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah. I wonder what these go for on the grey market. I'm not sure. But yeah, this one's pretty cool. When I was looking at Speedies a couple of weeks ago, Y2K, and maybe more than a couple of weeks ago, and I did the same thing. I had the Hesselite and I had the Speed and the Sapphire next to each other, and I put them both on, and I really fell for the Sapphire. I was like, man, this watch is dope, really nice watch, and it's got a few little differences to it, as opposed to the Hesselite, which sort of it's got a little bit more bling to it, so I think it makes it a little bit more versatile in terms of you could wear it casually, but you could wear it with a suit if you needed to, or business casual, or whatever. So the Sapphire, yeah, I'm with Thomas on that. I think the Sapphire is the one to get, personally, anyway, because you want to see the movement's pretty cool too. It's not super well. It's not crazy decorated, but it's good to look at. It's a nice looking. They've done some work to it. They have done some work to it. It's pretty nice.
I absolutely agree with you, JCB. As much as you want to cover the heritage and the historical significance of of Omega Speedmaster to the moon, there is always, especially when you're spending already such good money on a piece, what's the difference between spending? The difference maybe is like maybe a few thousand more for a Sapphire one, and then
it's not that much. Yeah. It's not that much more. It's not that much more, actually.
Correct.
Maybe it's a grand. It's about $1,000.
A grand or so, yeah. So
maybe something like that.
The thing is, when you make this kind of purchase, you need to consider when you put it on that very moment, how you feel about it as well, because the sensation is also very different on your wrist when you have a Sapphire caseback or you have a plate. The quickest analogy, the metaphor. think of the Speedmaster as the Porsche 911. Now, there are Porsche fans here, excuse me. So the Porsche 911, yes? So the 911s look quite similar, the way that they look in terms of like the design. So if you think of the Speedmaster the same as Porsche, then yes, in a way, there's always like the GT3, there's this version, there's that version, but it still carries a very signature look and itself. And just to address the chats, JQH, don't leave out covering the 50th anniversary. Porsche Chronograph re-edition. Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And Junior Johnson, thank you for that. It's $35,000 on the gray market and rising. Animated dog, definitely, because you know what? In terms of the local Omega club here, they're very diehard fans, and to them, like anybody who owns a Snoopy is like, so they're like, okay,
you're in. You're in.
Yeah,
you're like the boss. You're like, okay.
It's like Speedmaster. Oh, it's a Speedmaster. Oh, you've got what? Oh, you've got the the Man on the Moon, and then they've got the one with the silver plate thing in the dial, and they got Snoopy, and they're like, oh, it's a different level of Omega.
The guy's got a Snoopy. Yeah.
So there you go, JCB, done it already.
Jonathan, yeah, good to see you in the audience. Yeah, I'll just
thank you for that, Junior Johnson. Jonathan,
we'll move on from Snoopy to Dr. Sub 300. This is the limited to 300 pieces. This was originally released in 1967 and had its 50th anniversary in 2017. On Lovely Beach Rice Bracelet. It's the Sub 300 was released at Basel. This model, this 50th anniversary, with the orange. Sorry, the original was released at Basel with the orange dial, the professional. There's the black dial, the Shark Hunter, and the silver dial, the Steve Rambler that you see here. The bezel features a depth scale in feet, and the inner ring features elapsed minutes like most dive bezels. When the diver reaches the depth, checking the depth meter, the diver then refers to the outer ring of the Doxa bezel to see how many minutes they can spend underwater without having to decompress. And it's a favourite of Jacques Cousteau, this watch always has been. This was limited to 300 pieces, and it had the double bubble crystal.
Double bubble. There you go.
Yeah. The first thing Thomas pulled this up is like, my eyes like zoom into that crystal. Zoom.
Man, that's okay. Hang on. Go back. Go back, Thomas. Just click back one. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. So can you get it one with the black bezel and one with the silver bezel? Is that right? Because this one's got a black bezel. Is this the original, maybe?
No, this isn't a black bezel. I think it's just a light.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay. Could go to the next one, and it's like silver.
Yeah.
Is it just because of lighting?
Really? No. Can't be.
It's lighting on that photo. It's just the lighting.
It's very deceptive, really. I'm sorry. It's manipulating the eyes. I agree with JCB. One moment it's got that lovely like black. It looks like the photographer was casting this shadow onto the paste.
Because I like that. That looks cool with the black bezel. It's got that sort of pandery look, and then here with the silver. That's bizarre. That's just, I can't believe. No, that's black, man. Come on. That go back to the. No, like, yeah, that one.
It's not black. It's just it's.
God, what?
Steel. This is the Rambler.
Either I'm going colorblind, or something's gone horribly wrong. And the people in Doxa need to make two versions of this. Okay,
they do.
Make the one in black, okay, and make the one in silver. And realistically, there is a special name for this case, isn't it?
Cushion case.
The what? Cushion case?
Yeah.
Cushion or it's like a turtle. It's like a turtle case.
Turtle cushion case. Yeah. So yeah, the first thing actually I saw about this that was very prominent. I think I remember seeing this before when I was doing Doxa's the covering of Doxa brand.
and it did the Hubble. I call it the bubble of the submersible submarines or the ROVs that go in the deep sea, and they have this bubble at the top for the crew that's inside. The Hubble bubble. I call it Hubble bubble. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Jonathan's Doxus, the carbon doxer. He's waiting on a carbon doxer and still not arrived. Yep. Oh, Jonathan. Oh.
Those carbon doxers are really cool. I like those.
He's waiting on
which
which
color did you get? Oh, he's getting the
white dial with the luminous white dial. He's gone for.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, that's cool. Well, Blue Shirt had the blue version of this, the Sub 300.
The Caribbean
blue. I love that watch. Always when
Doxination. This is for
Doxination. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Cheers for Blue Shirt as well while we're here.
Buddy.
I need a refill, so keep going, guys. Let me get another drink.
No worries, man.
Yeah, well, we'll skip on from the Doxer. We've got plenty more to go. I love Doxer. I really like them. I mean, I'm wearing a Doxer. I'm wearing a Synchron military at the moment, which is a homage to the Doxer army. But this next one, this is the.
What the hell is this?
Placo Prospects. Alpinist Ginza.
Just the Ginza.
Yeah, this is in
140th anniversary, right?
Celebration of Placo's 140th anniversary since their beginnings as a watch and clock repair shop in Ginza, Tokyo. 3,500 pieces of this limited edition. The paved dial pattern is inspired by the very first Western style stone street paving areas in Ginza, which were urban changes which spread as the area and the country as a whole began to prosper. The blue-greyish, let me get this right, Comparuiro style colour represents reflections of the sky in the glass cityscape in Ginza, as well as being one of the Japan's cultural colours, a shade which became fashionable in 1910s and 20s, beginning in Ginza, when new chemical colour dyes began to be imported. The Alpinist first launched in 1959 exclusively in Japan market for the Yama-Otoko Mountains, meant to be reliable in treacherous terrain. So this is you see this sort of paved pattern on this dial.
Yeah, it's like the pavement. I
like it. I mean, I've seen these. This started at $750, I think it was, so £750, and I've seen them going for a lot more than that now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting piece. Not my cup of tea.
No, not one's cup of tea. Not really my cup of tea. I mean, I'm not a huge Seiko. I'm not a Seiko.
Seikonisti.
Seikonisti.
Yeah.
CV, I love you. Seikonisti. Yeah, I'm not a
Seikonisti.
But it's an interesting model. I mean, I haven't got an Alpinist. I won't be buying one, and this hasn't drawn me to buy one. But I think it's an interesting. I like what they've done with the pattern. There seems to be some open heart version that they did as well. But I was concentrating mainly on this model. This is plain time and date model.
Is this a limited edition as well? Seiko
yeah, 3,500 model pieces. It's sold out now. It's a 2021 model. for the 40th anniversary. Hi, Jonathan.
Hello. Hey, Jonathan.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello.
Seems that it's very hot over there with you guys. Everybody is rehydrating, and so it seems that it's very hot.
and no shit for sure.
Yes, here it's also very hot, and I'm in the top level of our house, so I'm sweating to death as well. But I wanted to join and hope that I can contribute a little bit. Great show, great topic. I hope that everybody is doing okay.
Jonathan, you need to whip out some Deutsches beer for the weather.
Deutsches beer, but only cold from the fridge.
All right, Thomas, keep it going.
He's going up home and he'll try and listen in the car on the way. Take care, Junior.
Take care, Junior Johnson.
Journey.
See you, Junior. Always good to see you, brother.
Yeah, always good to see you, JJ. So this is a Ginza, and we've gone over this one now. We'll move on. And one of your favorites, JCB, I think, coming up.
Yeah. You got the Cosmonaut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anniversary of the first Swiss watch in space with the new Cosmonaut. The Breitling Cosmonaut. Breitling released a contemporary take on the historic Navitimer Cosmonaut on the 60th anniversary, becoming the first Swiss watch to travel to space. The first Cosmonaut was created at the request of Scott Carpenter ahead of his 1962 mission aboard Aurora 7 spacecraft. A fan of watches, Scott Carpenter approached Breitling owner Willie Breitling, asking for a Navitimer with a 24-hour dial to distinguish night from day in space. As with this survival edition, Breitling also revealed Scott Carpenter's space-worn Cosmonaut for the first time, and this was irreparably damaged by exposure to seawater during the 3-hour-long retrieval of the Aurora 7 space capsule from the ocean
on landing.
In the Breitling family archives in the original unrestored condition. And you can see that one there.
Isn't it amazing that a piece can go into space, but then on the re-entry and the landing in the water, that's what stuffs it up?
Yeah. So they made 362 pieces of this limited edition, one for each circumnavigation of the Earth performed during the Carpenter's mission. And it was $11,200. Came out in 1922 this year. And I think they stuffed it up a little bit by putting I think they did little tweaks to it whereby they made the bezel gold or something, didn't they? I'm not too sure. I don't know.
No, I think it's pretty much a faithful recreation of the original Cosmonaut, Thomas.
That damage Navitimer shows the main issue with all the Navitimers. So on Rolex, for example, or Omegas, the bezel is usually a part, an added part to the case. So it is not critical for water resistance. On the Navitimer, the bezel is carrying the crystal. So there must be some water resistant sealing on the bottom of that rotating bezel, and that is very difficult to achieve, particularly on a long run. So if you turn that bezel, you turn the crystal, because the crystal is attached to the bezel. So making this watch water resistant is very difficult. And that is the main issue with the Navitimer. They look gorgeous, But technically, if you want a good quality in terms of water resistant, this watch is really difficult.
Yeah, it's all about that slide rule bezel, being able to
Alex
operate
is
that.
Just confirming that, yes.
Yeah.
You know,
it's interesting that Zen, when they brought out the 903, that they had the rights to use the Navitimer design, but instead of using a rotatable bezel, they actually used a crown to operate the slide rule bezel, or the inner bezel, which was an interesting way to try and deal with that issue. I'm not too sure what the water resistance is. I think it's still pretty low. It might be maybe 50 meters or something, but is better than the Navitimer.
Yeah, but when we are talking about water resistant, we're not talking about maximum pressure. The most critical part is also how long does it last. And if you try to seal that big part, that bezel crystal assembly, for a couple of years, that is going to be difficult, particularly when you continuously operate it. The way that Zin did, they fixed it and made the operation in a different kind of way, and that keeps the watch water resistant for a longer time. I'm always puzzled when I'm talking about people from the US. Here in Europe, it's quite common that you indicate a time in that 24-hour format. So, for example, when you're meeting at 7 o'clock in the evening, you're saying, or you're writing on your phone, we meet at 19:00. Yeah. And it always surprises me that people from the US have a problem converting that. Because it is just common in our brains. How is it with you, Y2K? Do you have to calculate it, or is it just like that with you?
Calculate which part, Jonathan?
Telling you we meet at 19 hours. Do we have to calculate, or do you know immediately?
It's kind of easy because 19 means 7 p.m. But
yeah, okay.
In terms of like verbal. If you say like you're on a phone with a friend, let's meet at 1900 hours at like Starbucks, people will be like, they'll take a few seconds. They're like, oh, okay. But I think it's more like because the 24-hour rule is more like used for military timing, and some people, it's more for military timing. So unless you like to communicate in this kind of style with your friend, then sure. But if you use like just 7 p.m., it's like, oh, it's so easy. And 1900 hours is like, oh, okay. It takes a moment for someone to process it.
So when you're buying tickets for a concert, and that concert is starting at 8 o'clock in the night, what does the ticket say? 8 p.m. or does it say 20?
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Okay. Yeah. Here it says 20 on the ticket.
How about air tickets? Air tickets. Your flight tickets.
Also.
Right.
Yes.
So I understand because for airports, because they probably need to be very careful on the screens. So they tend to put in like 24 hours for the screens. Because I think when people have been flying for a while, I think this is because of psychology. People have been flying for a while, they're exhausted, they're tired. They see the screens, maybe they see 7, and they assume that they assume 7 p.m. They might see as 7:30. You put 7:30 p.m. They be like 7:30 a.m. So instead of that, they put 1930 instead. Yeah, I think it's got to do with the psychology and of it. Yeah.
Is it like that across Europe, or is that just a Germany thing?
I would say it's across Europe because we don't display the time in AM and PM. That AM and PM is not known here. So of course we learn as kids. We learn 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the evening, but officially there is no AM or PM. So in all official communication, then you skip from 8 to 20, for example. So 8 is converted to 20 then in the night. So for example, when I'm The main news here are at 8 o'clock in the evening, and everybody knows that it's starting at 20.
Okay.
Hey, Thomas, I was just... this is so bizarre. I was just, like... I opened up a browser to look at the news, right? And then I'll share my screen. Look what came up at the top. Look what comes up here at the top. This is absolutely bizarre. All right. Look at that, man. Kermit. Right at the top. This advertisement. I just clicked on the news.com and then this. Here we go. 32,950. I'm not sure what that is in pound.
Wow.
But then I just clicked on it. So we've got a
Australian dollars it is.
yeah, that's Aussie. I'm not too sure what it is in this is in
It's the
2005.
algorithm.
Roughly half, I think it is in British pounds, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, sort of roughly about that.
Why you're seeing this is because it's the algorithm, because it's the same on Instagram or anything. If you start looking for keywords such as watches or luxury something, everything.
I wasn't doing it though. It was just I had the YouTube window open, and Thomas had it there, like he brought it up on YouTube. I hadn't typed anything in. I didn't do anything, and it just how's that?
Yes, but from your browser history, people know that you're searching for watches, I would say.
Yeah, but we were just talking about the Kermit. I haven't seen a Kermit come up in an advertisement for years. Maybe it's just could be a coincidence, or I don't know. Absolutely,
it's calling to you. JCP is calling.
I wonder how that works when my wife is searching for clothing and shoes on her computer. I suddenly get ads for ladies' shoes on my computer. So it must have been have something to do with the IP address, because that will be the same. Otherwise, it's physically two different computers.
What do we got here? We got the IWC. What's this one? The Paul Weber.
Paul Weber, yes.
Yeah, the IWC celebrated the brand's 150th anniversary in 2018. They went all out and released 27 new timepieces, which spread over different collections. The Tribute Paul Weber edition, 150 years in particular, stood out from the lot. And based on a pocket watch that Joseph Paul Weber invented in the late 1800s, IWC licensed it from Joseph Paul Weber and created their own Paul Weber pocket watch in 1884. They're a bit of a fad and were only made for 2 years. The first time the Paul Weber jump hour has been put on a wristwatch, though, this is. And although variations can be found in other wristwatches, they made 25 pieces in platinum with white dial, 250 pieces in red gold with a white dial, and 300 pieces in steel with a blue dial. And it's 45 millimeters, 12 thick, has a thin wire lugs like early trench watches that were converted from pocket watches in the First World War, and it uses a manually wound in-house 94200 movement, 60-hour power reserve and hacking. And it's a lovely watch. I love these jump hour sort of movements. You can see the lugs there like a trench watch.
It's clearly the history is from those pocket watches. IWC has a great history in fantastic pocket watches, and there are collectors. I know 2 collectors who only collect IWC pocket watches, and that Paul Weber is really a legendary display feature. Look how perfectly symmetrical that is. The offset of the hours and the small seconds down there, it's beautiful, and it was revolutionary because usually pocket watches just use hands and a dial and not those digital numbers.
And Paul Weber came up with this stuff a long time ago.
Yes.
This was like late 1800s, I think, 1883 or 1885 or something. So for him to come up with that back then and then patented and licensed the rights to RWC, all at a very young age, is quite amazing when you
have a look at the movement.
Well.
It's gorgeous.
And those pocket watches were really cool. They had, paintings on them, and they were really art. They were art pieces themselves. So
yes.
That makes sense, Jonathan. That there's a big collectors market for those pieces, for sure.
Yes, I like how they attach the lugs. Just like in the early days, people converted pocket watches into wristwatches by just welding some wires on and put a strap on the watch. And they did a similar thing here. It looks like that. Of course, the construction is modern, but many people, probably you have seen as well, a converted pocket watch into a wristwatch. And usually then you have the crown on a different position than at 3. Because usually a pocket watch is wound at 12 o'clock. So usually you have the crown at 12, even if you convert it to a wristwatch, because otherwise everything is tweaked.
Is this an enamel dial, Thomas? Do you know?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so. Yeah.
It looks like it.
This watch looks like one of Mosin C's designs. There's a few watches, I think, from Mosin C that has this kind of very bright color stylistics. I don't know if you guys recall. I should go and look up what that particular piece is.
I was thinking more actually in the de Bethune sort of style, that bright blue enamel sort of look. I would have preferred on this piece something a bit more artistic, like the original Paul Weber pocket watches. They were quite, they had like paintings and things on them. I think that if they had have done something like that and made the dial a bit more interesting, it would have been a bit better, I think, because it's quite a sparse sort of dial if you look at it. Like, imagine if you owned this watch. I reckon you'd probably get bored of it after a while.
Oh, I don't know. I think you'd be buying it for that jump hour. It depends if you got a jump hour in the collection.
Yeah.
It's sort of okay with me though. I don't really feel that I would really I would use the correct word is appreciate this one the same as the fans would, because I think in a way I'm a bit like old school IWC. I want to see the old school IWC, and this is a very tenacious approach by IWC to go in this direction. And yes, I finally
definitely
found out. Mosin C, it looks like the Mosin C collection within the Endeavor.
The Endeavor line, yeah. Yes. That's what I thought you were referring to here.
Yeah, yes, you're right, JCB. I was trying to find the keyword and I looked at it and said, it definitely looks like Endeavor. Yeah.
So not a popular one with everyone then.
Really a hardcore acquired taste, really. You gotta be able to like jumping hours. Sure. You give me another IWC Classic Pilot, I would take that one over this one any day. I think because I've always wanted that look, It's the same like someone was to offer me, let's say for example, a Rolex or something. We've always pictured Rolex subbies to look like that. And suddenly Rolex the subby is something very different. It's like, what is this? So
this is a historical piece. I mean, it's going back 100 years. So from there,
I would say that this watch is targeted to IWC diehards who know the history of the Pallweber and want that pocket watch movement inside. And
100%.
Perfectly understandable. I would say I prefer the look of the movement better than the watch face. I like the movement. Yes, I like the movement better than the watch face. Yeah, I actually salute the people who appreciate the heritage and history of this, but I like the engine. It's like this car. I don't like the way it looks, but I like the engine. Yes.
What's the damage for one of these, Thomas? What's the price? Do you know?
I think you're talking about 30,000.
That pound or US?
Are you sure? Do you know, Jonathan? Do you know?
I think when it was issued, it was like $30,000. But I'm just checking Chrono 24 if there are some used watches. You can buy this particular watch for around 30,000 US at the moment.
Farce.
There are 4 on Chrono 24.
If I'm going for something like this, like a jump hour or digital time, I'm going straight to the Zeitwerk. I don't fuck around. I'm not worried about any other watches. I know the Zeitwerk is in a whole other price range.
Yeah.
But for me, if I'm looking for something like that, like a jump hour digital type of watch, that's the only thing I'm looking at. I know the price is. This is half. This is a much different price.
Talking another 50,000. You're talking another 50,000 on top. So.
I know. I get it. I know the price. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, and I mean, in dream world, look. This is still 20-30K. That's still a lot of money. Like
Jonathan said, it'd be for the die-hard IWC fan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Thomas, can I share a picture with you from a pocket watch that I found on Chrono 24? Yeah. So this is also a tribute to Paul Weber, obviously a pocket watch. A pocket watch without that additional cover is called Lepine. And what they made was a re-edition of a Savonnet with that additional case top, which is then pierced to show the hours and the minute.
Yeah, that's cool.
Those were old Paul-Webers as well, and that is what Paul-Weber usually stands for. So you see here the open case front just to display the time.
The pocket watch thing from I
like it. Very cool. Very cool.
and those chains for those pocket watches, you could buy them by IWC, and they were bloody expensive. I remember. So that is included here in the deal.
That's a lot of money. $105,000.
Yeah. There's a lot of gold there, though.
Absolutely, yes. Okay. Sorry for the tangent.
No, all good.
No.
Oh, wow. So we're going to go away from the IWC now. I'm going to go to Cartier. This is the 100th anniversary of the Tank Cintre. This watch was limited edition to mark the centenary of the jeweler's formal watch for men. The Cintre was released in 2020. Yeah, for men. It's men's watch.
I thought we were on a ladies' show for a minute.
It has nearly all the elements of the vintage original. The 2018 model is in different in both case and movement. The anniversary edition is more of a revival to the 2005 Tank Cintre, limited to 150 pieces, hand wound, caliber 9768 MC, 9780 MC, 18 karat gold, hours and minutes, 36-hour power reserve. I think it's using a JLC caliber 849, and this is $29,900. So it's small. It's 23 millimeters and 6.4 thick. But lug to lug, it's 48.3. So it's a small watch.
It takes up your whole wrist, but it's thin. It stretches.
These are some of the original designs that they did for the Suntrey. That's an original one.
Now these are female pieces, are they not?
No, it's a men's watch. It's a men's watch. Yeah. Well, it was.
Interesting.
We were talking about sizes of watches earlier on, me and JCB, and I mean, this is 100 years old, so it's 100th anniversary. So 100 years ago, this is what men were wearing.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, because I think there is another anniversary watch from Cartier. I don't know if you guys heard about it. It's called the Cartier 150th anniversary driver's watch. Have any of you heard about that one?
Not me.
Okay. No. I will. Yeah. Once you finish, I will share my screen with you on this, Thomas and everyone. Yeah.
So I mean, I quite like this. I quite like this Suntrey. I mean, that's an original one from 100 years ago. But I quite like this watch. I mean, it's not for everyone. It's a curved design, as you can see, but I mean, you ladies will probably be buying it now, and because it's not macho enough for men to invest $30,000 into. But it's got something about it I quite like.
I love the shape and I love the creativity of Cartier in the early days. They came up with so many bold and crazy watch designs, and we have to keep in mind that back in the day they only made a handful of those and then sold them. Cartier was not a mass producer, just like they are today. And I applaud them for all their crazy designs, and most of them turned out to be very timeless, because it's an old design and it still holds up very well. I agree with a previous comment. Although it may be a men's watch, in my opinion, particularly the Suntrey looks much better on ladies than on men's.
Just quickly say hello to Alex. I didn't see you there in the chat. How you doing, Alex? Good to see you.
One thing, to be fair to the fans who actually do love the Suntrey, is that obviously with the different generations of watch owners and watch collectors, the perspectives are very different in terms of what men view as men's watches, women view as women's watches, or perhaps the other way around. So one thing that you guys actually are right is that Cartier certainly does have a way with how they do the designs. Now obviously with this piece, as a Suntrey, it is 100th anniversary, but I would say this would be running along on the lines of 34 millimeters, maybe smaller. So I think back in the day, men wore pocket watches. Sorry?
23 millimeters.
Wow, that's even. Now I have the great concern of whether I can see the dials clearly already with the glasses I have. So obviously, I think have to put it on the wrist to tell the time, to see if it can tell the time clearly. Yeah. But I will show you guys the next one, which I think just off another design. But Thomas, if you don't mind, I will show you. I took this up as a standby, but we just want as an honorable mention to Cartier. Yeah. Let me see. I can just share this one. So this is the one that I was thinking about in Cartier, which is the Cartier 150th anniversary driver's watch. This obviously will not be as I think it doesn't date that far back as long as the Suntre, but this was something that I felt was probably, in my very simple perspective, was a man's watch. Yeah, but this was because it's more for like drivers' watch, for drivers. So back then we think that drivers are all very cool, having yellow seconds hand, red seconds hand, sub dials, and all these things. I mean, there's also the Cartier. I think the Cartier driver, if I remember. So I think this piece is actually another piece to really recognize and give credit to Cartier as well. Yeah, it dates back to 1997, and the case is 36.5, which is somewhat along the lines of back then how most of us would have perceived watches for men back in the day, 36 millimeters, 39 millimeters,
So if you don't mind asking, what is the driver's feature? Because when they issue that as a driver's watch, there must be a reason behind.
So I think the idealized concept here was with the ergonomics of driving in mind. So this, we saw the Suntre having the curve case. Now, was the curve case in the Suntre having any kind of concern, for the user or the wearer to have comfort and all these things? Perhaps there was. So even for this,
it wasn't
sorry,
it didn't have too much of a curve to it. I mean, I've seen more curved watches. I think a curve and other watches, but it wasn't too to.
It's very difficult to hear you, Thomas.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, Thomas. There's a bit of interference.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's better.
Yeah, it wasn't too curved, the Cintre. It was just had a little bit of a curve. I mean, I've seen more curved similar watches, like the Yema Curve X. And, it was
You just dropped out again. You dropped out again, Thomas. Yeah. Let's also say shout out to some punters who have joined us. We've got JP, CWC, and Timepiece Bob. Cheers.
So just to quickly answer the whole concept of like ergonomics of the watch. So the watch was actually meant to be worn on the side of the wrist, allowing easier time reading while driving. Now I think there wasn't any specifics whether it was meant for the person who was having the right side as a right master arm or the left side. I think it's just meant to be very easy to be worn when you're driving in mind. Yeah, so I think that was the whole idea of it. Yeah, so I think this is an honorable mention to Cartier as well. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Did you want to share your screen, Jonathan?
Yes, if you allow me to present my anniversary watch, and this is also a personal favorite of mine.
Love it.
That is a
great piece.
Yeah, in my opinion, that is a groundbreaking and revolutionary watch that Mr. Porsche made back in 1972. It's now 50 years ago. Ferdinand Alexander Porsche is the son, if I know correctly, of the founder of the Porsche company. And he worked for Porsche as a designer, and he created the 911. So before it was the 356 Porsche, based on a Volkswagen Beetle, and he created that 911 design concept. Then later on, there was a decision that all family members of the Porsche family are not supposed to work for the company anymore. And that matched with Mr. Porsche's goal to found his own design company, and that is what he did back, I think in 1969, or if I remember correctly. And his first commercial product was this watch, which was revolutionary. It was the first watch that was totally black, not only black dial, but also the case and the bracelet was black. Has never been seen before. It had those integrated pump pushers, so you can't see the pumping part sticking out of a watch. That was a little bit integrated in the case. It featured that prominent red second counter of the chronograph, which was very revolutionary. His design philosophy was you have to be able to read an instrument just at a glance, and when you stop a certain interval, the second counter is the most important thing.
So JQH, was this fully Porsche design? There was no
yes.
IWC
no,
involvement
that came later.
or anything?
Okay. That came later. So that was Porsche design. That was his design. He didn't have a watch manufacturer, so he outsourced it to a company called Alfina, which you can also see written down on the dial. The watch also featured the brand new Valjoux 7750 movement, because that movement was just the new kid on the block, and so it featured an automatic chronograph movement, which was quite new. I know the El Primero was first, and the Tag Heuer, what was it? Is it Caliber 11?
Caliber 11.
Yeah. Yes. So the Valjoux was a little bit later, but Mr. Porsche used that. Unfortunately, that was the height of the quartz crisis, and Valjoux stopped producing that movement after 2 years. So Mr. Porsche had to look for a different movement, and he went then for Lemania 5100. So it's a winded story with this chronograph. The quality of those watches was crap. The coating was basically a traditional powder coating, and it wore off immediately. The case and the bracelet material was steel or brass, and what was in particular inferior was the material or the construction of the bracelet. Look at that. That is basically just tin can, which is rolled and being held together by pins.
And then you have this thick watch with this thin bracelet.
Yes. So I was also always fascinated about the design, I must say, but I couldn't push myself in buying a vintage one, because either you have a vintage one which is totally worn down, or you have one which has been stripped and then recoated, which is even worse in my opinion, because then if you chemically strip those cases, particularly the brass cases, you lose a lot of shape and contour. So I was waiting for the moment when Porsche Design does this particular one with the historic PD logo. That is the old PD Porsche Design logo that you see above the date and the day of the week. There have been anniversary editions, but they never got the dial right. And so at the beginning of this year, Porsche Design announced this watch, which has all the ingredients, including the old Porsche Design logo on the crown. And the watch is now made out of titanium. The watch, the bracelet links are fully machined titanium links. It has also a micro adjustment buckle, so it's very easy to wear. And I immediately got this watch. I've been wearing it ever since I got it in February. It never left my wrist. That didn't happen, that I'm wearing a watch uninterrupted for over half a year. And you may know I have quite some collection, but I totally love that watch.
What's the coating?
It is a PVD coating, but it's a diamond-like coating, they say. I must admit, I've been beating this watch around, and I can see the PVD coating going off on the edges where it's been worn hard. I don't know if it's normal, So my plan is after 1 year or 1.5 years, I have a 2-year warranty. I will send it in with Porsche Design. I have pretty good and friendly contact to Porsche Design. I had a lot of questions, and the head of Porsche Design always was very happy to reply to. And my plan is to send the watch in after 1.5 years for a statement, if that is a normal to be expected kind of wear, or if there is a material problem. I must also say I'm running on the second bracelet because the first bracelet lost some of the coating after 2 weeks, and it has been immediately replaced by Porsche Design.
Interesting. Cool. Guys, I'm going to jump off, but that was cool. Fascinating look at the Porsche.
I didn't want
Thomas, Y2K, JQH.
to scare you off with that watch.
JCB, all good.
Getting late here. Got a few things to do, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah,
Thank you, JCB. Always glad to have you on board.
Bye.
Bye. How much was the Porsche Design? How much are we looking in terms of damage if we purchase?
So
I just want to say in chat, JP, CWC, and Timepiece Bob, good to see you. Sorry, Y2K.
Oh, sorry, it's okay. Welcome, JP, CWC, and Timepiece Bob. Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
The Porsche Design watch was 7,000 euros or $7,700 US. It was a limited edition, 500 pieces. Porsche Design has been overwhelmed by the demand. It was sold out immediately, and now they made a dodgy thing. They will re-release that limited edition with a slightly different design of the dial, and also a slightly different design of the bracelet. The dilemma for Porsche Design is that is a 50-year-old watch, and if you're running a company today, you don't want to rely on a 50-year-old design. So I understand them. I would guess that they could sell half of their watch production of this particular model, but they don't want this. They want to be the modern design company, so they don't want a bestseller based on a 50-year-old design. So they will now make 1,000 of those every year, and it's a kind of pre-order process that you're going through. Unfortunately, the dials now has a chronometer wording. My watch doesn't have the chronometer wording on the dial, but I have a chronometer certification for the watch. So it's basically the same watch, but with a slightly different dial design.
So I will stick with a German brand, and I just wanted to go with the Zenith 103 Classic 12, which is a watch I saw Watch Pro Salon. In November. This is a 60th anniversary of Zin. 600 were made. Sold out in 2 days. It's a chronograph, as you can see, but it's got a GMT bezel made in ceramic, and to tell the time, different time zone, second time zone. Polished steel case, 200-meter water resistant, uses its SW 510 movement, 41 millimeters, 17 thick, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I really do like this watch. As you can see, it's 60th anniversary of Zin, the company themselves. It's they brought out this Frankfurt Allgemeine range, which was for the financial district in Germany, in Frankfurt.
Yes.
The Allgemeine is the river. The Main is the river that runs through Frankfurt, I believe. And it's a stunning watch. Really is a beautiful watch, this one. I don't know whether you've seen this one, have you, Jonathan?
I haven't seen that. I'm just looking at that little dot where the lug at 7 is, and I'm wondering if that is a hallmark or if that is that salt cartridge where they get the humidity out. So I'm just trying to find out.
Interesting. You mean this dot here?
Yep. Or is it? It's probably a setting mechanism for the 24-hour display. I think it is just.
Well, the 24-hour
correct.
is only for the bezel. It's only the bezel that's
okay.
used for sorry, not 24-hour, for a second time zone. The ceramic bezel.
So, but there is an hour counter. Is that only for the chronograph, or is that for the time?
The hour counter, I believe, looks like there may be a 20. I don't think it's a second time zone. No, I think that may be for the chronograph. It may be a second time zone. I don't know.
Because apparently this is something for a correction pusher, so it must have a purpose.
Anyway, it's just a watch I wanted to bring up because it was a really nice watch I tried on, and well, didn't get to try on because it was in a glass cabinet, but I looked at it and it was
Thomas, it was in a what cabinet?
A glass cabinet.
Oh, okay.
So, what it says on the dial Frankfurt am Main, that is the usual kind of writing Frankfurt or Frankfurt, because we have two Frankfurt in Germany. We have the big city in the heart of Germany, and we have also Frankfurt at the Oder River, which is in eastern Germany. So. It has been always written like that, Frankfurt am Main.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So that little thing features since dehumidifying technology. So that is a little cartridge. It is a kind of salt cartridge that gets out humidity, which is in the case. You can find this technology on many Sinn watches. And this particular watch features this technology. That is their AR dehumidifying technology.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just one.
I'll put something up for the people in the chats who are actually interested in this AR technology. So yeah, definitely. Let me just put it up here. For those of you who are interested in what was just mentioned about this AR dehumidifying technology, here's a bit of an article that I pulled up about this. It actually looks like little screws or nuts, little screws and nuts. Interesting enough, yeah.
Yeah, and you can change that cartridge then when the watch is being serviced.
How often do you think the cartridges need to be changed?
It depends how often you got the watch humid. So I would say around 5 years. So normal service interval, I think they are changing the cartridge as well.
I see. Okay.
So next up was the JLC Reverso Hybris Mechanica Caliber 185, which was the 90th anniversary of the JLC Reverso. This is a quadriptyque. 11 complications, including tourbillon, minute repeater, and instantaneous perpetual calendar. A monumental watch with 4 faces and a movement made up of 800 parts. Face 1 has the hours, minutes, flying tourbillon, instantaneous perpetual calendar, and big dates. So I'll find that face first. That's that one. Phase 2 has the jumping hours and minute repeater. That one. Phase 3 has the Northern Hemisphere moon phase, as well as indicators for lunar month, moon apogee and pedigree, month and perigee, month and year. And then you have the phase 4, which is on the back, has the Southern Hemisphere moon phase. It's hand-wound 50 hours power reserve, 18 karat white gold, alligator strap with white gold folding clasp. It's 31 millimeters by 51.2 lug to lug and 15.15 thick. Presentation box with built-in setting mechanism for the time and calendar. There were 10 pieces made. It was boutique only, and it was 1,350,000 euros. So it's a lot of money for a anniversary watch, but it's one belter of a watch.
I always ask myself how it works that those functions which are in the case container below the main watch, how that communicates, because apparently there must be a connection, a mechanical connection, to drive those calendars that are on in that subframe, and I have no idea how that technically works. But there must be a mechanical connection, or maybe a connection with a magnet or something that drives those calendar functions that are in the subcase.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether it shows any more pictures of the...
This is such a beautiful piece, irregardless of how I've always liked chunky pieces. I like a watch that whose manufacturer takes the time and the effort to really build something like that. And this is really, of all the pieces I've seen so far, from JLC or some other brands, in terms of the anniversary piece, this one is really one that is really catching my eye quite a lot. Yeah.
Well, for
the beauty, sophistication,
and 350,000 euros.
Hello, Jamie.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How's it going?
The king.
You all right?
Hi, Jamie.
Jamie up on the big screen, Jamie.
Yeah.
Wow.
How's it going?
Yeah, doing good, thanks.
Good, Jamie. How are you, mate?
Wow, look at this.
Oh, brilliant. I won't. I'll just give me a minute or so. Yeah, I'm just tuning in. Is the cricket Y2K? You could talk us through. So the guys were playing cricket here for the day. We got a church.
St. Andrew's
CBD.
Cathedral. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, it's a cathedral. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the business district. This building is the theatre.
Yes, the Esplanade, the one we call it the Durian, and that's Marina Bay
Sands.
Yeah.
That's
sure
the World War
are.
II memorial. That white tower is the World War II memorial to the Allied troops.
Nice.
And
so, Jamie, are you still in quarantine or?
No. We all tested negative yesterday.
Congratulations!
And, we just got out. So I mean, it turned into a bit of a mess. We were staying in Shangri-La, and then basically my daughter was a bit ill, and we thought, let's just take her to the clinic. But we didn't think, it could be COVID. Anyway, it turned out they wanted to do a COVID test, and bang, it was positive. And Singapore is still, much of Europe's kind of all very relaxed, but Singapore is like, right, back to the hotel, 7-day quarantine. You can get out if you test negative after 3 days. So yeah, eventually she tested negative yesterday, and we also were negative. So we just got out of that hotel, and yeah, now we're here. And it's been an amazing evening. We went to Gardens by the Bay, right behind MBS. and we watched the show at 7:45.
Great.
And then we just walk back to the hotel, and it's just great. You know, coming from like sleepy little towns in Spain, you come to a city centre, there's life, and it's it just energizes the soul. You know,
it's a lot more life, Jamie. And you know, the place, just to acknowledge someone, Timepiece Bob Padang. Yes, Timepiece Bob, you're right. The place where you see that they're playing the cricket, that big field over there. That's that used to be one of the spots they used to. Yeah, they used. It's called the Padang. They used to do the National Day there, and the building to the right-hand side of the field, which is that building, that house stretch, is actually the Supreme Court. Yeah. So if tomorrow, if you have time, you see that road where the car's coming towards you, you take the road on there and you go north. You will see the Lady Supreme on the Supreme Court. Just keep your eyes on the right-hand side. That building, and you'll see that's the Supreme Court already. Yeah, and
so Jamie,
that church. Sorry, go ahead.
Jamie, when are you moving to the Marina Sands?
Well, we were meant to be there on Tuesday. Everything's a mess. We were meant to be there on Tuesday until Friday. And we were meant to have left yesterday to go to Kuala Lumpur. Obviously, that didn't happen. So the whole plan's kind of it's just a mess. So anyway, we're going to stay here for several days, and then on Thursday next week go to Kuala Lumpur. I cancelled the MBS.
Oh, okay.
I basically rang them and said, look, because it was non-refundable. I said, look, my daughter's positive. Do you want us to come, or can we maybe come to a solution? And in other words, refund me, or we're turning up, which they didn't want.
So they didn't refund you?
No, they did, and that was it was like 500 euros a night. So it was 3 nights we were booked, 1,500 euros. You know, that was I didn't want to really lose that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad they refunded you, Jamie. Yeah. Really happy.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, guys, I'll leave you to it. It's getting on here, and I'm sure I interrupted whatever you were talking about.
Thank you very much for chiming in. That was much more interesting than Watch Talk.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for doing us the honors of showing the nightlife. Only exclusive to the viewers here on the Escapeman. So we're all very happy and grateful to hear that you guys have moved to another hotel and you get to see the city life. I just hope the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris don't wake you up later.
Well, we were originally on the 42nd floor. This hotel's got 70 floors. We were originally on the 42nd, but the missus, whilst we were out, my missus, there's a Lamborghini. There she is. Yeah. There she is. She changed the room. She started feeling a bit, from the height, dizzy.
Right.
So we're much lower now.
Isn't there a rule of thumb that starting from 30th level, you don't hear the streets anymore?
I have no idea.
I think I know that from Hong Kong. So
yeah, well, I took our daughter out to Gardens by the Bay, and I got the call basically to say, when you get back, switch the key downstairs because I've changed the room. So it's, okay, no problem. The boss. Cool. All right, guys.
Enjoy your trip, Jamie. All the best.
Thank you,
and
Jamie.
best regards to the family.
Yeah, cheers, Jonathan. See you, Thomas. See you, Jerry. We'll catch up.
We'll see you soon.
Definitely. See you later, mate. Right, I need to get out of here without ending this. Yeah. See you.
All right. Thank you, Jamie, for sharing that.
Watches. This is the great to see Jamie. Yeah. Hope you have a great holiday. This is the Urwerk UR-T8. It's the 20th anniversary of Urwerk. And Urwerk is for UR is for Urwerk, T is for transformer, and A is for the motion of the reversible case. And their work started in 1997. This came out in 2017 for the 20th anniversary. Satellite Complication, created by Martin Frey and Felix Baumgartner, and founders of her work in 1997 on the UR101. The UR-T8 uses a carousel with satellites using disks for wandering hours mechanism, a very complex mechanism. And for the first time, inaugurated a transformable case, basically a reversible case, making the watch look like a futuristic reverso.
Yeah, so it is like a reverser, basically, but it's not. It is flipping the same kind of way, like the reverso. Yes.
So it's round. Yeah, actually flips over.
So, do you know what time it shows? This particular watch.
This one's telling 6:34.
Yeah, 34, 35. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the case has a pattern of the UR105 T-Rex and has 60 limited edition. There's 60 limited editions, a full black and the one on the screen mixing uncut titanium and black. And it was 100,000 Swiss francs, this one. So it's a lot of money. But
yeah, it's relatively cheap for an Uhrwerk. So.
It's you see on the wrist there.
So this is the cheaper execution of their particular way of displaying the time. So that 6 moves down. That 6 moves down, then 35, 40, 45, 50, and so on. And when the 6 hours is finished, it moves on to the next part of the carousel, and you can see already the 7 showing up somewhere. No, not yet. But basically the thing at 12 o'clock then shows the 7, and the 7 is moving down then from 0. So that is the old way of displaying time, because they had a kind of, help me out, what is the name, retrograde. So they also have a retrograde minute display on a different movement, but that is slightly more expensive.
But you can see it flips over to this side, to the back, like a reverso, so you can cover where it covered up, and then flip it over to the back side. Quite an interesting one. I'm a big fan of her work myself.
Yeah, Uhrwerks are cool.
Uhrwerks has a special place in my heart. Like I've always enjoyed watch brands that take watchmaking to the next level. You know, tenacious.
What is also nice about this concept is you can wear it under a sleeve, and when the watch is only slightly peeking out from under your sleeve, you can read the full time.
Yeah, exactly.
Given that you're wearing it on your left wrist. So right-handers have a problem.
Yeah, if you wear left-handers wearing it on the right wrist, might not see the time.
It's not ideal, yeah. But Uhrwerk is a brand that, like what you've been saying, JQH, is that the price point is definitely on the higher end. But that's because if anybody's listening in, with my very simple knowledge, Uhrwerk itself, the way that they manufacture the timepieces is very complicated. They actually do show a breakdown of all the pieces, the parts and pieces that go into it, and the whole conceptualization of for example, this particular piece as well, which is the UR-T8 bicolor. Am I right?
Yes, you are
right.
UR-T8.
So this one particularly has a lot of the bits and pieces already, and there's just one piece out of the entire Uhrwerk collection that has many, many, many complications. So for sure, anybody is curious, do go check out Uhrwerk. You spell it as URWERK, and you will see what we mean about how complicated and the way they've made the watch is.
The funny thing about that Uhrwerk name in German is they are playing with words, because Uhrwerk can mean a watch movement, Uhrwerk, or in a broader sense, it can mean a manufacturer for watches. So they are playing with that word in their company name, but only Germans get that double sense that it's a mixture between a watch manufacturer and a watch movement.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the work. What we're on next.
Right. While Thomas is doing that, Thomas, I'll do a very quick one, as I promised everyone. Something that I found very interesting in two watch brands, and in their one was an anniversary piece. What I'm going to show you is an anniversary piece from one brand, and the other one was more of a latest launch. So what I would like everyone to do is to just keep your eyes open and tell me, what do you see that's something very similar? Right, so let me just do this. Okay, so this is the first one I want you guys to look at. Okay, so this is still in relation to the subject at hand, looking at Seiko's 140th anniversary limited edition. Right, so these are, in commemoration to the 140. There are 4 different pieces. Right, so look at them very carefully, guys. All right, and then after which I'm going to switch to another brand. I would like you guys to tell me, is there something that you see very similar? Okay, right. If everybody's done, I'm just going to give it another 5 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
All right, now I'm going to switch over. Now look at this is from Breitling. Now I want you guys to see all these pieces here and tell me, what do you see that's very similar? Okay, I'm going to switch back and forth. All right, so I'm just going to let you guys look at all these pieces here. Okay, now we're going to go back to Seiko.
Well, the Breitling on the right looks like the Seiko on the right.
Thomas has got it right. So the Super Ocean Automatic 42, sorry. Excuse me there. Oops. Let me just close this one. So this one looks very much, like the Seiko right here, especially the second from the left, the Seiko, the Diver Automatic 200 meters. So I just found that was very interesting, and I believe Breitling was the one that launched this quite recently. This new Super Ocean collection series very recently. So I think there is some concern that if anybody has not noticed it yet, it's something that I would like you guys to pay attention to. But 2 different brands, but very similar looking kind of things. Yeah.
Yes, but this ice blue color theme has been in the cooking now for 2 years or something. So, for example, Chapek now introduced their watches with that ice blue colored dial. So,
right.
and knowing a little bit how the development process of those watches is, that is just a coincidence, and basically 2 watch brands jumping on the same fashion.
Correct. So as what JQ is saying, this kind of, I think, is also a catching on kind of trend in terms of the design. Am I right to say that in a way? So this very ice blue or snow blue kind of trend is actually catching on as well. So just thought I'd share that as something that I found interesting with you guys. Okay, Thomas. I am good.
I'll just move on to one of JCB's picks for his grails, which was the MB&F LMX10, the 10th anniversary legacy machine. 33 in titanium, 92,000 euros, 18 karat red gold was the 105,000 euros. This is the first legacy machine was in 2011. The floating balance wheel was new, and 2 dials for the independent time zones are now tilted at an angle. More of the mechanics are exposed on the dial. The vertical power reserve indicator has been redesigned. The hemispherical power reserve. It has all the features and signature features of the first legacy machine, but practically everything has been reshuffled. The only thing that hasn't changed is the position of the balance wheel, heightening the interactivity with the rotating hemispherical power reserve indicator and wheels. The traditional shape watch as in round, and then many of the more traditional shape watches from MB&F were spaceships and styled horological machines, and this is actually a round watch for MB&F, which is interesting.
Legacy machine then, yes. Do you have a picture of the power reserve indicator? Because that, in my opinion, is the most interesting point.
I'll just scroll down. Max Busse imagined what sort of watch you would have designed, and 100 years ago, and he took inspiration from many aspects of literature and design, as well as pocket watches. He came up with the first legacy machine. So the power reserve indicator. So the first legacy machine is there. You see this one. That was the very first one. And this is the 10th anniversary one. So the power reserve indicator, Jonathan, let me find a picture of that.
So just to back you up a bit, Thomas. So for the power reserve, if I remember from my research back then, the power reserve, if I'm not wrong, basically it's using a unique hemispherical rotating power reserve, and I think it's got the choice of either weekday or 7-day indication. Yeah. So it's a hemisphere. Sorry.
Here it is. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I think I was trying to find the word hemispherical. Yeah, it's that
hemispherical
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, that green thing is moving up and down depending on how the watch is wound. But the mechanism behind it is quite complex, because you can see a half dome below with a kind of snail track, which then operates that power reserve indicator. So when this turns, the power reserve indicator moves up on that snail track.
I've got to really say that in terms of MB&F, I think we have actually been we've actually covered MB&F quite a fair amount already. I must say, Thomas, and and JQH and everybody who's been watching. I think we've actually covered quite a fair amount of ground for MB&F, and we certainly do hope, in a way, that we bring new insights towards the appreciation of such unique timepieces, despite the hefty price tag. Okay? Price tag aside, in a way, let us appreciate how beautiful the timepiece is.
Yeah, well, if you covered enough, if you had enough of MB&F, we'll move on.
Definitely, yeah. I remember I covered MB&F, and then who was it? Was it Abdul that covered it? Yeah. I think it's Abdul who covered MB&F as well. Yeah.
So this one's an interesting one. The Breguet 1747BA regulator. This is a Christie's auction in 2016. This went for $13,750, which is an amazing price, I think. Bargain. It's 18 karat gold, produces a limited edition of 300 pieces to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Breguet Company from 1747 to 1997. A yellow gold case with a guilloche dial and regulator sensor minutes. Inset hours at 6 o'clock and date at 3 o'clock. The gold case features the names of the noted owners in enamel on the case reverse. So you can see the case reverse has had the people who've owned Breguets in the past, Louis XVI and many different many well-known people. And there you can see the movement. I think this case back, I don't know whether it was a Hunter case back or not. But I love regulators myself. I'm a big regulator fan.
Is this a rose gold case? Is it? Yeah, okay. The rose.
Yellow.
The photographer really has to. Yeah, I think it's a fix. The angle of his taking a picture. The rose gold looks a bit beige. Yeah.
Yeah, not the best photo, this one. You don't have anything to say about this one, Jonathan?
I don't know too much about this particular watch, so I'm keeping my mouth shut.
There is no.
But the price was very cheap. The price was incredible for such a piece.
We'll move on to another gold watch. Time's plodding on, so we'll move on to another gold watch. And this one came out this year, and I love it. I don't know whether everyone loves it though. This is the Vacheron 222, and this is the anniversary. Is the 45th anniversary since the release of the original, which was the 222nd anniversary of Vacheron, and this is the first sports watch released by Vacheron in 1977 and made until 1985, designed by George Hayek. It was a flat-based monoblock case which required the movement to be cased from above. It has a fluted screw-down bezel which was waterproof to 120 meters. The new version is 37 millimeters based on the jumbo and 7.9 millimeters thick, so very slim. 18 karat gold with a beautiful integrated bracelet. The original caliber 112220 has been replaced, which was a JLC 920, I think, has been replaced with the in-house caliber 2455/2 with a gold.
And that is the biggest backdraw on this particular watch. I know that my friend Swiss was totally excited hearing that they reintroduced the 222, and he was more or less on the fence on ordering one, and then he found out that they replaced the beautiful JLC movement with their standard Val-Fleurier movement, and also the price was a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, this watch is now 50 meters water resistant. The loom has been added to the indices and the hands. It's a white gold Maltese cross at the bottom right of the case, which is its signature. And the watch was one of the ones that stole the show this year, Watches and Wonders. And as Jonathan says, it's an expensive one at £60,000, £60,500. But it's people say, well, I heard one person mention it's an expensive Tissot PRX, which is
there is a point behind it, and people forget when the 222 came out, Vacheron was dead. Vacheron was just a very small watch manufacturer that had a great name, but they had difficult times to sell their watches. So as Patek and AP, the other two of the Holy Trinity, had a sports watch, somebody came up with the idea to make a sports watch at Vacheron, and they made the 222, and the 222 was not really a selling success. I don't know how many they made, maybe 500 in total or something like that, if I remember correctly. So it was far from a success, and so the watch died silently. And just a couple of years ago, people discovered the beauty of it, and now they are making a recreation of it.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely watch. I love the bracelet. I think it's just the
I love the gold.
Brush bracelet. That's what I mean. Gold bracelet. It's all gold. Yeah.
The designer of this watch really knows his stuff. Jörg Hüsek made a lot of iconic watch design, and he was also hired from many watch brands to update their watches. So he knew his stuff, and I think his design is pretty good.
I'm curious, JQH. You know, previously you mentioned that when Vacheron Constantin decided to launch a sporty design, like something like this, a sporty design watch, you know, what do you really think happened to the opinions and perspectives of buyers, and why do you think at that point in time it did not catch on to potential buyers? What do you think was the issue?
Well, you have to remember, we're now celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Royal Oak. And that is, as far as I know, the 45th anniversary of this particular watch. And it has been said 1,000 times, but people tend to forget that the Royal Oak was not a massive success when it was launched. The iconic status of the Royal Oak grew over the year, and I would say it is a pretty recent thing, because I remember the times when the offshore came out, and nobody wanted to have those traditional Royal Oaks anymore. Now the tide has changed. Nobody wants the offshore anymore. Everybody's going crazy for the traditional Royal Oak. So the opinions, the fashion, the trend always changes. Opinions change. Doesn't make a watch worse or better. It is just hype and trend and fashion. And it is just the truth that back then, watch companies struggled to sell their luxury sports watches. One exception was Rolex, but even back then, the Datejust was a much better seller than, for example, a Submariner or a GMT Master.
Interesting. Why I raised this question was because when Jamie and we went to Lange & Sonne, which is a brand that you are very well intimately, you know the history, the pieces as well. So as you're aware, Lange also has launched the Odysseus. Is that what you call it? Odysseus? Yeah. So I think the question that we did pose to the AD at in Singapore, the Lange & Sonne, was to ask them what was the rationale behind launching a sports watch. Especially, we all know that Lange always designed watches that were meant to be a lot more leather strappy, dressy, the keywords like that. So I think in terms of what you're saying is that even for a watch brand like Lange & Sonne, and if they suddenly launch a sporty version of it with limited pieces, according to the AD, and obviously we did ask the question, how do you think this will catch on? And she said she doesn't know, because at this point in time, all the pieces were just simply snapped up, Yeah. Especially, I think this is strictly towards Lange & Sonne fans. They're like, oh, Lange & Sonne is launching a first sporty watch, I've got to get it. So zoom, everybody just went in and get the Odysseus.
Yes,
so
yes. It is a good question that you ask. So the question is, are people snapping up those Odysseus because it's so bloody damn good? Or is it that the people just snap them up because they're not able to get a Nautilus or a Royal Oak? Or are they snapping them up because they see that they are going for double of the retail price on the secondary market? I personally... I was very excited seeing the Odysseus because it was something totally different. But to be honest, and I'm maybe now a traitor to my beloved brand, in my opinion, the Odysseus is not their finest hour design-wise. If you give me the choice without the context of the market, if you give me the choice of a Lange 1 or an Odysseus, I will always choose the Lange 1.
Yeah.
Good call, because that was what I was thinking,
Yeah.
When we look at the Lange 1, and we talk about
in a way, the traditions of how we've always seen a Lange watch to be. And now they have changed directions towards, catering to a different group of people. So obviously now times are changing. So I think my projection was that Lange wants to stick the pinky in the water and see how... Yeah,
absolutely.
And see what happens.
If I may advertise the Swiss and John show, which happens a little bit later, we will talk about this because we had a comment by the original OC on our last show where he mentioned that Hermès invented the concept of artificial scarcity, and in my opinion, it is a two-way street. A brand like Lange is very successful with Lange One and their stuff, but just like Patek Philippe didn't want to become the Nautilus company, I think Lange is well advised to try to get a second foot or a second pole for their product policy. And of course, that will be a sports watch. You can't always continue just making what you're famous for. You have to try out something else with the danger that you fail. So a classic example is the code 1159 by AP. We have been lamenting that AP was a one-trick pony for years, and AP tried all kind of avenues in getting a second pillar for their watch collection, and they continue to do so. And I think it's important for those companies, even though it may not be a success, but I think it's important not to become a one-trick pony. And basically, the Odysseus is the reply on Lange trying to find to discover new avenues.
Yeah, Jamie and I got to see a live version of it, which was actually awaiting customer pickup at the AD. So I think we felt it was pretty in its own way. I guess probably in due time. I think time will only tell what Lange will really do.
I'll put something broad out here, and people may crucify me for that. Give me a Lange Odysseus in steel and a Moser Streamliner chronograph, and I will choose the Moser Streamliner chronograph.
Yeah, Moser Streamliner is gorgeous. Yeah.
Because the Streamliner, in my opinion, is really a groundbreaking, revolutionary watch concept where H. Moser is doing something really different and totally genius.
Yeah, the bracelet's great, and
it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. It's such an amazing watch. I had it on my wrist in April, first time that I've seen it in real life, and it was just mind-blowing. It's a mind-blowing watch.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring up the FP Journe anniversary 1412 Tourbillon. This is 30 years or 10 years, I'm not sure. Case back on this tourbillon is the anniversary tourbillon is 40mm and pops open neatly to reveal the in-house designed and made. Let's have a look. In-house designed and made caliber 1412 manually wound tourbillon movement. It's a visual recreation of the movement inside Journe's original pocket watch, which is nice. Most of the movement is made from brass and the screws are large and blued. It has a power reserve of about 56 hours. The movement and the overall watch are inspired by Breguet's original work. 99 pieces were produced from 2013 with a price of $99,000. Basically a pocket watch on your wrist like the Paul Weber. And I'll just get a photograph of the original that Francois Paul Journe made. Let's scroll through all these of the actual anniversary model, which is nice, I think.
What I really like is the thought for the hunter case. Can you? Yeah. No. This stop. Can you go back to that image? Scroll up, please, a little bit.
I'll just say this is the original watch that Francois Paul made.
No, go one further back.
Which one do you want?
Where you can see the lip, where you can see the lip of the hunter case, where to open it. No. You can see the crown position. You can see the crown from top. Go left. No, left. No.
Not that one.
No. 1 second. I'll guide you. So go left with your cursor. Okay, go up now. One more picture. Okay, here. So here you can see the lip where you open the hunter case back. And it may appear that this is a design flaw, but it's well thought through, because when you're wearing the watch on your wrist, you won't see that lip, because your perspective, you see the rear side of the case, so you won't see that lip when you wear the watch on the wrist.
Yeah, and you need that lip to open the case back as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But I just love the fact that it came from a pocket watch. It came from the original. You can see the dial comes from this pocket watch that Francois Paul Jean made originally. And that's why he's copying the design. It's a lovely, lovely pocket watch. Really nice. You see the two here in this picture.
You know, Thomas, there's something very scary about this piece. Well, I use the word scary, is how beautiful this watch looks. And I admit, I do like pocket watches on wrists because they are big. But of course, I think this has better legitimacy, unlike a lot of like so-called Frankenstein marriage watches. So. Yeah, but I must say I quite like this one because it's very classic looking. I especially Roman numerals, and the pocket watch look. Yeah, and the movement definitely catches my eye. I think
Breguet hands as well, and it's got a lot of Breguet influence. You can tell.
Yes, for sure. Just to say hello to Pocket Watch Time and Mark the Shark. Welcome, gents. Welcome. When was this launched? Did you know, Thomas? Do you know when this was launched?
2013.
Ooh, okay. If it's a Breguet, then the prices are going to be slightly on the higher end.
It's an FP Jean.
Sorry, FP Jean? Oh, FP Jean. All right, FP Jean.
Guys, I have to go. Thank you very much for having me on. I hope that I didn't dominate the conversation.
No. Too
much.
No. Thanks for answering the few questions that we asked. Yeah, so we appreciate that very much.
I try my best. Okay, see you next time, guys.
Take care.
Jonathan.
Bye.
So just one last watch to end on, and Jamie's gonna like this one because Patek is king. And
got to be a Patek. Ooh.
The most expensive watch going out there, and the most complicated watch, the Patek 5175 Grandmaster Chime. We can see here, created as a masterpiece to celebrate the Patek's 175th anniversary. This is the 5175 Grandmaster Chime. The chiming Grandmaster piece is the world's most complicated wristwatch with 20 complications. Those complications are Grand Sonnerie, Petit Sonnerie, Minute Repeater, Strike Work Mode Display, Silence, Grand Sonnerie, Petit Sonnerie. Alarm with time strike, perpetual date repeater, movement power reserve indicator, strike work power reserve indicator, strike work isolated display on off, second time zone day night indicator, instantaneous perpetual calendar, day of the week, month, date on both dials, leap year cycle, 4-digit year display, moon phases, 24-hour minutes, crown position indicator, and it's just a mind blower, this one. It's just, I mean, the engraving that goes into it as well has 2 faces and is reversible. There was one made for the Patek Museum and 6 more pieces made. It retailed for 2.5 million Swiss francs in 2014. And Thierry Stern thought of the idea of the watch in 2004. It took 7 years to work, 7 years of work, 100,000 hours of fabrication, and in June 2021, one appeared on Chrono 24 for $72 million.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. 72 million.
Chrono
My goodness.
$2 million. So it retailed for $2.5 million to start off with in 2014, and last 2021 one paid for $72 million. So Patek is king, Jamie.
Yes, dedicated to our resident friend Jamie, who loves Patek, really. So over the years, it's appreciated 17 million?
From 2.5 million to 72 million.
Yeah, it's appreciated 70 million over the goodness.
So it's
I can definitely see why. Yeah.
45 times the price.
My goodness.
I mean, there's a little film here.
Now, I would say that while we're seeing this film, I've really got to say, aside from the price tag, which is outrageous, but I really love this piece, because especially the first thing that wins me over is the whole case itself. I barely see cases done with this level of intricacy and craftsmanship. And I guess, in a way, as watch connoisseurs, collectors, we are also fascinated by the way that it's been done, the amount of time, man hours, materials, and the design concepts that go into a piece like that is no easy feat. Yes, and it's got a bit of like a reversal thing going on there, doesn't it? Hey, Thomas?
Yeah, I mean, like the earwork that we saw that reversed, like the Hybris Mechanica reverso that we saw. It's just, look at it, it's fantastic.
It's got the moon face on one side, and it's got the next one, look at perpetual
calendar on one side, and with telling the time, and then it's got the minute repeater and everything else on the other side. And it's just the grand sonnerie, petit sonnerie, minute repeater. It's just fascinating.
Most complicated Patek Philippe wristwatch, 20 complications.
13,000 double face. Yeah, you can see it all.
It's a grand piece, I tell you. To me, when we talk about the range of watches and clocks, okay, this is literally like the grandfather. When he's a grandfather, it's kind of like huge and bombastic. It's a bombastic kind of feeling when you see a watch of this magnitude, of this level of detail, work, and everything that goes into it is really out of this world, really. Yeah.
Look at the box.
And with a case that goes with that, that's amazing.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Just really is.
And the crown. If you look at the crown, yes, that crown and the pushers,
all of the amount of detail and work that go into it is just immaculate. Yeah.
Just amazing. Yeah.
If you look at it from this angle, it literally looks like a clock that belongs at the train, not at a train station. Now, I'm not saying that the word train station means that it looks very common, but it looks with the Roman numerals, the way that the hour hands, the minute hands, seconds hands, the numerals that have been selected for this piece. Okay, be it above the moon phase or behind the perpetual calendar, the numbers, the font itself is making this piece really a classic piece, a timepiece that is absolutely fabulous. Really well picked, selected, Thomas. Very well selected. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was just a selection of a few anniversary pieces. There's tons more out there because there's loads of anniversary watches, but just a few that I thought I'd chuck in. Yeah. So that's it for the show today then, guys, I think. Thanks to everyone for joining us, JCB and Jonathan, and thanks to all in the chat. Pocket Watch Time, great to see you. Yeah, Timepiece Bob, Faris, JP, CWC, Alex Footy, yeah, Ginny Johnson, all the guys that appeared in the chat.
Each and every one of you, we are very appreciative.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Twitch, Nick C, Flipping to Poe. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we really appreciate it. And if you feel like giving us a thumbs up, we'd really appreciate that. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Helps the channel grow a bit.
Yes, and if you guys have any questions or you have certain interests and content that you would like the panel to come up with, you can send an email to The Escapement Show, which you can find over here in the email, theescapementshow@gmail.com. And the panelists will be very interested to jump on and also help you. Perhaps if you're looking for that one piece to go with, and if you would like to jump on, do send us your credentials, so we know who you are. You're coming to join us on the show, and you maybe have something to show us and your thoughts on your next grail piece, or maybe you want to buy it for a friend or your children or the lovely missus. There's no harm to come on board and to share with us your thoughts and maybe the advices of what each of us will have from different parts of the world. Thomas hails from the United Kingdom. I'm from Singapore. So we have many other panelists as well from different parts of the world as well. Yeah, JCB actually is from the Australia.
Yeah.
And we also have Abdul, who's Abdul is in the
from Germany, but he's on holiday. He's on holiday. He's from Germany, but he's from Egypt, but he lives in Germany. But he's on holiday at home in Egypt at the moment. So,
yes, and JQH is from Germany as well. Yeah, and Jamie's in Spain, but he's in holiday in Singapore at the moment. So, but just to really thank Thomas today for all the hard work in pulling out the materials, JCB for his selections and everything. I did also put some materials on standby for anniversary mentions. So if there is another anniversary series, we will save that for the next series as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah, we've been going nearly 3.5 hours. So, should we call it a night?
Absolutely. Yeah. So for sure, if there's no questions from our viewers, we're gonna close the show, and we really appreciate everyone who's come on board to show support, and we certainly do hope that if you've just been listening to us, you can consider it a podcast. So we hope that this podcast was fun. In a way, Thomas has also given us a lot of information and insight, and also for JCB, who was here earlier, who had to shoot off because he got stuff to do. But thank you for his active participation and support. And JQH as well, who actually came and shared his thoughts about the certain questions we asked about him for the thoughts and perspectives of watch trends in today's watch market as well.
And all I can say is enjoy your day and don't get too hot out there. And if don't let the heat get to you. Drink plenty of water and keep rehydrated. Because the heat's getting hot.
Indeed. And so wear your watches in happiness and in good time. Life is short. Don't keep your watches always in a safe. Wear them if the environment is safe, and always be secure about your watches wherever you go. So just study your environment before you wear your wristwatches out. Yeah.
Damn right. Good advice, Y2K. So, goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him.
And goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for supporting. And we're always very happy to see all of you.
Take care.
Take care, then.